All right. Well, I guess this is going to be the best that we have to do with it right now. A whole bunch of technical difficulties trying to get this going, but we appreciate you guys tuning in here for the Top 25 podcast. We're excited to bring it to you guys this year. We're going to go ahead and get started with just kind of our year in review. We had made a ton of upgrades to the streaming for this year. One of the things that we made a big investment in was the audio equipment. We had invested in some good broadcast mics. We noticed the audio is really tough. At sometimes, like I'd be losing my voice by the end of the fourth game of the day because I'm trying to yell over the announcer, who's not supposed to be announcing during the play. By the way, announcers, you cannot talk during the play. You cannot play music during the play. Anything in between, you're good to go. So just a FYI, public service announcement. But we had invested in all the broadcaster headset mics and all those kind of cool things. That way you can hear us clearly, you can hear the sound on the field a lot better. We're going to be getting that audio equipment back. So what do I mean by getting it back? Well, all our stuff got stolen, including the video equipment too as well. And this was only maybe a few games into the season when somebody broke into the truck and took literally everything we had. We bounced back a little bit. A big thank you to the GoFundMe people out there. We really appreciate everything that you guys did for us to get us back live. It's something we really enjoy doing, so we really appreciate you guys doing that for us. So we got back towards the end of the year just before the Motherlode Super Bowl kicked off, so we were at least able to see the top half of the leagues, I guess you could say. So all the good teams that we had in Motherlode and Trans Valley and SynCal and Delta, we got a chance to see all that. So it was nice to see at least some of the best teams make it to the end, and we could capture some of those moments for everybody in the Super Bowls that they had. And we even got a chance to tag in for the Turkey Bowl on the last day of the Turkey Bowl out in the Bay Area to watch a good matchup, in particular the varsity, that Tracy Rampage Manteca Cowboys game. We were really excited to see all that too. So that's a little bit about how the year went. Coach Mike, how'd your year go so far? A little disappointed and probably couldn't see that SynCal game.
Yeah, yeah. I love my SenCal games for sure. I know everybody probably thinks like I'm a big fanboy for the SenCal teams and Modesto area in general. Like I have something against Stockton. That's not true. I have things against Modesto and Stockton because I'm from the foothills, baby. That's what I do. No, no. I appreciate a lot about both regions. Um, it's vastly different styles, so it's kind of comparing apples and oranges. So, um, I mean, if you know, maybe we will get into the foothill talk a little bit, but I just enjoyed the season in general. I really liked a lot of it at the top end of the levels too. We saw a big pickup, I think, at like the varsity levels as far as just the general fundamentals of everything, especially here at our top 25. I think that there's a lot of impressive varsity teams, like a lot of impressive ones. So I know, yeah, every year it's like, oh, where's our team? We did so good. It's like, yeah, I know, but yeah, all the levels got to do good. So gotta remember that.
All right, yep, and here's where my disclaimer comes in. Guys, when we do the video work, we send out the highlights and you see our videos, we make all you guys look good. And that's the whole point of putting out these highlight videos, to make you guys look as good as possible. But unless you guys are actually a member watching those live streams with us, you don't really get the full, spectrum of how well a team is actually doing. We get to see all the way from when they're walking into the gate and when they're walking out of the gate, because for me and Coach Ralph, we're usually the first ones in, last ones out. In many cases, we're waiting for the gates to open up so we can start setting up. But we make you guys look really good. So sometimes you guys only see it through that lens. So if you're only watching our highlights, which we appreciate the hell out of, thank you very much. Chances are you're probably not getting like the full idea of where these rankings come in, because
That's that's why we call it a highlight.
yeah, that's exactly why we call it a highlight. So know that we rank everything based on the entire franchise, how the entire franchise does. I know your 8U level just dominated, got themselves a Super Bowl and a trophy and everything, and untouched and all these crazy stats. I get that. But how did your 10U do, your novice or your rookies or whatever, your JV, your varsity, how did they do, right? Because everything is lumped into one team effort, and that's the way football is truly about. We had many discussions on whether we should rank the varsity heavier than the youngers, and we couldn't find any good way to do that. So we ranked everything absolutely evenly all the way across the board because we just couldn't find a good, solid, logical justification to weight one level heavier than the others, right? Because you know those franchises where their younger levels are always really good and their older levels are not so great, and then vice versa. Especially this year, like Coach Mike was saying, we saw a ton of good varsity teams. Probably the most competitive, most well-coached varsity teams we saw this year, even from teams that we didn't even expect to be even that well-coached. And we'll get into that later as well. So anything before we get started? Also, like I said, you have to be a subscriber in order to do the chat. So if you're wondering why you're not able to chat, you have to hit the subscribe button and hold on to that subscribe, and don't just talk trash in the chat just for one video and then exit out, which I know my Bay Area fans, I love you so much. You guys give me probably half the views that I already got I can dedicate to my Bay Area fans. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate the Raw Report, too, as well, for tuning in. I know you guys are watching. I know you guys are watching. I appreciate it. And also, like I said, we put in a ton of work in these rankings. I love my own rankings. You guys, I think, love these rankings too as well. There's a lot of debate around it. It's going to get hot. I get it. It always does. Some things are going to be surprises and some probably not surprises. So, and without further ado, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and introduce our first team. I'm going to try to switch back and forth between these kind of intros and stuff like that. So I hope you guys are going to appreciate some of the work I spent for the last week trying to put this podcast together and some of these mini highlights together here for each team. So first up on the list, we're going to take it one by one. Coach Mike and Coach Ralph in the chat. He'll be on here in a second. We're going to go number 25. All right, we got Turlock Pride at the number 25 spot, actually down quite a bit from the number 4 spot, I believe they were just a little while ago. We were really surprised that none of their teams actually made to the Super Bowl in the actual SinCal Youth Football League. It was surprising when we were just managing to get all our stuff together and get back on track with all that stuff. We had the Turlock Pride. We thought we were going to see them in SinCal Super Bowl. They weren't there. What do you think, Coach Mike?
Yeah, it is a little bit surprising. It does, especially given their history, feel like a real down year. And if I remember, I believe they lost like their varsity head coach. Like I think he was there for like 20 something years or something like that. So I guess you could kind of hang your hat on that, but that wasn't kind of the thing that kind of pulled them down a bunch. So I don't think that was all of it. Definitely, but yeah. Given the area, which brings in a lot of talent, and given just kind of the history of the team, yeah, it does feel like they slid down quite far. But still, I mean, if you're making top 25, your franchise is something,
Yep.
right? Given the long list of teams in the 205 or 209, so
over
yeah.
60. Definitely.
Yeah, there's over 60, yeah, ranked ones. So if you're in the top third, your franchise is legitimate. So, yeah, and then if we say it's your down year, that means you are somebody in this entire 209 area. So still some really good levels, still a lot of great football. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they made kind of like a comeback year.
Yeah.
This next year.
I think the Turlock Pride got through the regular season. We're looking to be top dogs and got upset by an Atwater Falcons team that actually barely missed the top 25, and it was quite the upset, but not too big a surprise considering Atwater probably fielded their best varsity team in probably a couple decades, and we're talking to the SinCal president. So really a good team out there that they field this year. Again, at the varsity level, running a pretty nice spread offense with some good talent all the way across the board. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see just how competitive varsity actually got, and then to see the usual suspects get caught. Basically, they couldn't just run the same system over and over and over again and get it done.
Yes.
All right.
put themselves into trap games.
Yeah, exactly right. Some other teams actually that didn't make the top 25 that actually had Super Bowl trophies that just kind of missed it. Teams, that got kind of to the end. You got Central Valley Lions is right there, almost ready to break through. They need the rest of their
Mm.
franchise to step up. I think they're building something good over there. Gustine Redskins, now 2 years in a row, we saw them in the Trans Valley Youth Pacific Super Bowls at the 8 and under level. They lost the first year. They came back, oh no, they actually, no, no, they lost. I think again this year. I think, yeah, to the Big Valley Sabers, if I have my memory correct. A lot of this is going off our memory, but still a really good football team out there. Uh,
Houston Huskies.
Houston Huskies again with the 12U championship out in the Motherlode. Unfortunately, didn't break into the top 25. Still ranked, I think, within the top 30. Other teams, like I said, Atwater, West Side Niners, North Stockton Bengals is looking to make an improvement. They jumped up a few spots as well. And then
Hmm.
some other suspects that we'll surprise you with later on, too, that didn't make the top 25 as well. So congratulations, Turlock Pride. We say down year, but it's still very much an up year for that franchise. A dynamite squad to go play for. Great coaching all the way through. They still racked up a ton of wins this year. So congratulations to our number 25 spot for the Turlock Pride. All right, Coach Mike, you ready for 24?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Number 24, Merced Cougars.
Yep, we got the Merced Cougars here. We've seen them, I think, a couple times in the regular season. They had a very, very talented 9 and under bunch. Some of you guys call this like that novice level. They were really dynamite. That number one was an absolute stud for them at that level. He ended up winning him the game pretty much single-handedly, MVP in my eyes for that SinCal Super Bowl. And he kind of carried the entire franchise into the top 25 rankings too as well. So congratulations, Merced Cougars at the 24 spot. So
Yeah.
it looks like Coach Ralph
Uh,
is having a little bit of issue joining, but what do you think about Merced Cougars at that 24 spot?
I think that's right for them. I think it shouldn't be a shock to see actually any Merced team to be in the top 25 in general. But yeah, I think I mean they weren't too far from the top 25 the year before. So them making it this year, it shouldn't be that surprised. I think if they start to pick up the top part of the levels, then we'll see them really climb up in the ladders. But I think as if they can keep backfilling as they send the talent up, then obviously that's when you get really, really like solid franchise in general. And then you should see the high school levels start to climb, as far as, get Merced teams in playoffs and Merced teams getting deep into playoffs in the high school level. So I think that the area in general should be pushing. Um, I think it's a great football area. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Merced definitely had a lot of talent in the area. They've had historically a lot of talent too. Merced Gauchos used to be the thing. I don't know if some other teams sprung off of the Blue Devils closing up shop, and maybe that talent got dispersed a little bit. How we doing, Coach Ralph? We see you. You're a
Trying
little
to get all
washed
set
out.
up. Sorry about that.
No worries. I'm glad the power's back on at least, and you have lights. That's always nice, especially with the weather we've
Right?
been having. So
Agreed.
we got 24 Merced Cougars. I really enjoyed watching. I believe it was number one that came up to talk to us, Coach Ralph, or at least to me. Maybe you were down at the snack bar. I couldn't tell, but one of the kids came up
Easy.
and he came up
That
and
was your
talked.
runner.
No, no, no. He came up between games and he was talking to us. He goes, "You guys are Empire, huh?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Most people would be like, oh, just to meet you guys, but I'm cool. I'm cool."
Oh, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was the funniest thing in the world. It was the cutest thing in the world too, as well. This kid coming in. I don't know if it was number one, but I'm kind of hoping it was number one. But he had a dynamite game. It was a very loud crowd for the Merced Cougars too to pick up that number 24 spot. They were a good squad there at that 9 and under level. And a lot of people don't realize that SinCal almost at a disadvantage in some ways because we are comparing their 7U to everyone else's 8 and under. We're comparing their 9 and under to everyone else's 10 and under. The only one that really gets fair game is the 14 and under level at the varsity, which is pretty universal rules for everybody across the board. So we kind of also have to see it through that lens too as well when we're judging kind of what the league strength rankings are going to be. By the way, there's a poll out there. Let us know what you think. If you don't see your league in that poll, there's a good reason for that. Yeah, exactly. All right, so hopping over into number 23. You guys ready for 23?
Let's do it.
Number 23. Tracy Bucks.
Tracy Bucks. All right, Tracy Bucks. They're at the number 23 spot. They had a ton of wins, but it looked like they couldn't quite finish out the season with any Super Bowl trophies. If I got my pull up right.
There it goes.
Yep. And so, Coach Ralph, you are on a little bit of a delay there too as well. Yeah, Tracy Bucks, we've been watching them for quite a number of years. Very solid franchise too as well. Got deep in the Central Valley Youth Football and Cheer. We felt that the CVYFC was a pretty top-heavy league, especially at the varsity level. There was a ton of talent at that 14U level, as there was in other leagues too as well. So it was really tough to us to see, okay, that was a returning team. They were really good. They couldn't quite overcome the Manteca Cowboys at that 14U level. Couldn't quite get it done, I think, against the Manteca Junior Buffaloes. They fell a little bit to the Lodi Junior Flames earlier at the 12U level. But they have a lot of talent, I think, that's going to start looking good, especially their 10U beast of a running back. They were running some of that spread option attack. He was their B-back running up the middle. I was really excited to watch some of him start running over people. So what do you guys think about Tracy Bucks being at the number 23 spot?
It's one of those examples where I think obviously the franchise, been around for a little while now, has a ton of talent with it, and for some reason, like, just finishing, right? Just right there at the end of the season, coming in strong. And honestly, it might be you have to build on your fundamentals and then come in, maybe with wrinkles in the playoffs. But it's really hard to say sometimes, because sometimes when you compare their wins and losses, like, obviously if you're playing the Tracy Bucks, they're going to be good. No matter what level you're playing at, they're going to be good. So maybe it's just them always having a target on their back and you being the team to knock off the mountain, right? That could be that you just.
Yeah,
it could be one of those things.
As a coach, you're like, okay, this one on the date, the schedule, Tracy Bucks, that's going to be a tough game. We have to prepare. I'm going to do some extra work to get a guy to go out video that team to make sure we have some game film. All those things is what you do for the Tracy Bucks. And they racked up a ton of wins. I think they got just about 30 wins. So out of this part of the top 25, probably the most wins in this section. It's just the algorithm likes to rank Super Bowl games very heavy, which means, I think that's the right thing, because when you get to the very end, you got to finish, right? It's hard enough to go undefeated in some of these leagues, which is sometimes what you have to do to win the whole thing. But you'd be surprised how actually rare it is to go undefeated in any of these leagues to actually win a Super Bowl. There were so many Super Bowl champions this year that didn't have perfect records. So.
A lot. Surprising. I think it's probably been more this year than I've seen in years past. It's pretty common, especially at the youth level, for undefeated Super Bowl teams to be quite the norm in every league. You just have sometimes these franchises get a level that is just unstoppable, and it's obvious. But this year, some people came in ready. They came in ready, and they changed that narrative, which is good. I like it.
That just tells you the strength of the leagues themselves.
Right.
If you're running the table, okay, is it because you're that good of a team, or is it because your league is kind of weak and it's easy to do, which will come into play later? But yeah, exactly.
It got tougher this year, especially to beat teams the second time around. It was really tough to do it. We saw teams that had won or beat teams pretty handedly in the regular season and ended up not beating the team in the postseason, whether it was in the playoffs or whether it was in the championship game. It was actually really cool to see the coaches step up and actually make the adjustments, not just at halftimes, but later on in the season to try to steal some of these wins to get them in the spot to win some championships. I don't know if we saw any Cinderella stories per se, but we did see some upsets in the Super Bowl. There were a couple where we thought, okay, they're peaking at the right time. They're actually going to probably get themselves a trophy, and they ended up doing that too. A couple franchises in particular we'll point out later that did that. So, great. Congratulations, number 23, Tracy Bucks. Great job. Like I said, anybody on this top 25 list, outstanding franchises. Just because you're on the low end of the top 25, you're very high in the huge list of teams in the 209. So, congratulations to Tracy Bucks. It's a huge list. It's a huge list. All right, here we go. We're going to announce number 22 now here for the Empire Top 25.
Number 22, Lodi Colts.
Yep, Lodi Colts dropping a couple spots here, but still maintaining some dominance in the top 25. They were actually one of those teams that snuck into the championship game, playing a tough Tracy Rampage team. They had a really good-looking varsity, too, as well. They were very competitive. I think it's only like their second year, I think, is what we heard in the Delta Youth Football League. So to come into a competitive north side of the DYFL, they're doing really well as a young franchise in that league. So, we know those coaches pretty well. They always have a well-coached teams. They went in prepared during the season and in the postseason, especially that 10 and under squad with Coach Horst and his team sneaking into the Super Bowl and making a hell of a game out of it too as well. So what do you guys think about Lodi Colts at the 22 spot?
That's not unfamiliar territory for them. I think if they want to make a run for any of the top 10 spots, they might have to really push for like a whole franchise system type thing and feed into each other to try that. I mean, that'll probably go for any franchise in general, but you'd have to have a real top to bottom approach for them. Because in Lodi, you're going to be competing a lot with whether it's going to be like North Stockton or other Lodi teams, that type of thing. So they're going to have this real tussle. It's always been real competitive for talent in Lodi. And I mean, Lodi in general is not unfamiliar with the DYFL. I mean, all the way back. Right, they originally started in the DYFL, and then they left there for a little bit. So there's back, right? There's back in the DYFL. So they're not a stranger to this league. But yeah, I think this shouldn't be unexpected. Them being a part of the top 25. Yeah, I mean, if anybody watches them play or been around their coaches, they're solid. It's solid.
Yeah, they spoiled some trophy hopes for some teams in the DYFL playoffs for sure. Especially on an ultra-competitive north side where you're knocking off teams that have 2 or 3 more wins than you in the playoffs. So big ups to the Colts franchise. And you saw one thing we actually saw in the season too. You were talking about running kind of the same system throughout all 4 levels, and we're starting to see some semblance, especially on the offensive side of the ball, where varsity, JV, and the younger levels are all starting to run at least similar things. We're starting to see the same formations, at least the same style of play where they like to outnumber people at the point of attack, that single wing stuff that they like to run, and then a little bit of mixture of the split backs in there. Yeah, the Colts did well at the 22 spot. What do you think, Coach Ralph? What do you think about the Colts here at the 22 spot?
Their organization is very strong. Good president, and the foundation is definitely there. Now they're just going to keep on building on it, and retaining their players. That's like the thing for all these franchises is you get a lot of kids that like to bounce around. If they can keep their core kids, they'll keep on building and getting better as a franchise.
Definitely the trajectory is good for the Colts franchise. So big congratulations to the Lodi Colts there at the number 22 spot. And on to the next. We're going to get into 21, and this one might be a little bit of a surprise to some of you, and maybe some of who? So here we go.
Number 21, Banos Tigers.
And this is a team from way out south side of the 209. We got a chance to see them last year, but not this year because of equipment issues. But the Los Banos Tigers actually, I think one of their levels went undefeated, if I can bring that up too as well. They were a dominant rookie squad. We saw them a couple years ago. And they're just, I mean, they hit, and they got some speed too as well. Now, Los Banos Tigers kind of flying under the radar because there's only 2 teams in the 209 that play in the Tri-County Youth Football League. But we did notice them, and they do hit, and they do like to hit. They got some big boys out there in the south side in Los Banos too as well. So what do you guys think about Los Banos Tigers sneaking into the 21 spot? I think it's the first time this league is represented since we started the top 25 list.
Yeah, they've always been on the radar, though. It's always been like, there's these guys over there that you want to keep track of. So I'm glad they finally are in this. I'm thinking we're probably gonna have to get used to them being there too.
Yeah.
So if some of you guys like spending a lot of time in the valley, maybe you need to travel just a little bit on that south end and see what's up over there. It's a little bit different too. It's definitely a different style. It feels that way.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Varsity putting up that 9-1. I think their rookies or their 9 and under or 10 and under level was 11-1. So they went all the way to the Super Bowl and I think lost. I think that's why they didn't bump a little bit higher. But overall, a good amount of wins coming out from this franchise to finally break them into that top 25. So, what do you think, Coach Ralph? Last time we saw them, it was against Dos Palos out in Dos Palos.
Right, and that's what makes this this rating system and all this legit, because we don't stay in the Stockton area. We don't look over in, Sacramento or whatever. We expand it. That's the outer reaches of the 209. And just because, all these coaches, well, who do they play? They don't play anybody.
Fresno area
How
teams.
do you know? We go out there, we watch this stuff. We know. We just don't, like other ranking systems. Oh, we have heard. Well, no, we gotta see to believe.
Yeah,
and we're willing to go way out there.
You got some grainy film or Instagram or Snapchat stuff from your buddy out south.
Right.
They say, hey man,
Well,
my
they
nephew
said,
plays
he
over
said,
here.
he
They're
said.
ballers, and now they get ranked because
Right.
of that one message.
Let's not talk crap on grainy films, right? I remember the big, camera, and it was grainy, but we had it.
But I'm just saying that no matter how good the video is, if it's just video, it's not the full story. You really have to get in there and actually see the speed and the size in person to really get a good feel for how good these teams actually are and how well coached they are. Sometimes you can see it on film.
Style.
Yeah, and style's a big one too. The vibe of the whole stadium, the vibe of Los Banos and Dos Palos out there, that's so much different than the other leagues. And we talked about this in years past where different leagues have different vibes and different cultures out there, and they play a different style of football, which makes the 209 just entertaining to watch all the way around. And I like to encourage everyone to play each other too as well. So big shout out to number 21, Los Banos Tigers. You guys are ballers out there. We have our eye on you guys out there. Dos Palos, I know you had a decent season too as well. You missed the top 25. When we first started the rankings in 2017, Dos Palos had 3 of the 4 Super Bowls out there, I believe, in that area, putting them in the top 5 in the first time we ever did these rankings. So you guys might be sleeping on the Tri-County Youth Football League out there. Now, we know we don't mention them enough. We didn't get to see them this year, but best believe we'll see him again. Okay. All right. Are we live again?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh boy. All right,
Yep.
let me put this over here. Sorry, guys. For a second there, I thought the power went out. I was freaking.
It's not fun, trust me.
No, it's really not. I was without power for a little while the other day too. I don't even remember which one we left off on. Let's see.
Colts.
We just finished 21. No, we finished Los Banos
21 Los
Tigers.
Banos
Oh, Los
Tigers.
Banos, my bad.
Yep.
That's right. All right, give me a second. All right. Oh man, I love you so much, computer. Thank you for doing that for me. All right. All right. Let's see if we can get this going again. Sorry for that, guys. It's what we deal with even when we live stream for real. All right.
Especially when we like to.
All right. So let's go ahead. Let's introduce number 20. Let's just get right back into it. So here's number 20, y'all.
Number 20. Lathrop Jr Spartans.
All right. I'm not sure if that video is playing or not. Did you guys see it on the live stream by chance? I think we.
Just black screen.
It's just black screen.
All right. One more second here. There we go. All right, number 20, Lathrop Jr Spartans making a return to the top 25. One of the big jumps for them this year. I think they have quite a bit of representation in the Central Valley youth football scene. They were going deep in the playoffs at many levels. I think they ended up with 27 overall wins and I believe a championship too as well. So congratulations to the Lathrop Junior Spartans at number 20, hopping over from the DYFL, getting into the Central Valley Youth Football Cheer, and actually producing some wins under new management too as well, I believe. So, what do you guys think about Lathrop making a return to top 25? We haven't seen them in a bit.
Dear
I
and dear to
mean,
my heart.
yeah, we've had history with Lathrop area teams. So yeah, I mean they were, historically good. I know they, like you said, they went through a change of management, so there's always like a rebirth of growing pains all over again when you make big changes like that. So, but it's funny. Lathrop sits kind of in a unique cross section of kids, right? You got the Manteca, Stockton, Tracy, and they're all kind of just like right around them. So they really have their choice of what leagues to go to and that type of thing. So they're kind of blessed with the area they're at. But yeah, I mean it's a growing town, growing city. So they should always be a part of the top 25 in my eyes. They just have too much going for them to not be ranked high.
Yeah, I think you're right. Geographically speaking, they have a lot of advantages. They also have new people introducing themselves to that area too. We have the River Islands Riptide. And then I just need you guys, if you guys could, I think I have a freeze on my stream. I don't know why it's not coming through here.
You're right, it is frozen.
Dang it. I'm trying to do too much. Oh no. Why?
Yeah, Mac Dre also says you guys froze. I mean, it says we're live. It's just the screen's frozen.
I don't know why it's doing that.
The audio's going through.
Is it?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
No
it's
video.
just the video.
What about now? Ah, there we go. My troubleshooting skills
On the
get a
back.
lot better at this stuff. All right. Oh my goodness. All right, sorry guys. This is going fantastic. All right, Lathrop Junior Spartans. We were just talking about how River Island Riptide has got other people in the mix too as well, kind of spreading out the talent just a little bit. So that was a new team in that area. Also, like I said, it's between the border of South Stockton and Tracy. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away from a few really good Manteca teams. So geographically speaking, yes, can go to a bunch of different leagues. Talent pool, that's a tough spot to sit in too as well. I think
All about the franchise.
they
Yeah,
were.
because you got all the Stockton teams, Western Ranch, Manteca, Tracy's, like I said, the Riptide are sitting right there now. So it's ever growing. So
Yeah.
you just the good thing about being an established franchise, right, is you have the history to back your recruiting up, right? Because it's always a little bit scary to go with the new team.
Yep. And
Um,
having that history allows you to bounce back a little bit. All right,
yes.
let's push forward here just a little bit. Let's get into announcing our number 19 spot here.
Number 19. Lodi Jr Flames.
Yep, that's Lodi Junior Flames coming back into the number 25 spot. Another team that we have history with too as well, not so long ago. And they had an actual boy at the 12U level. You can see them there whipping people. And they had a pretty physical squad. Their 12U level, I believe, is one that brought home the trophy for them. And they also had some other competitive levels throughout their franchises, earning them the number 19 spot in our Empire Top 25. What do you guys think? Lodi Junior Flames making an appearance on the list once again.
Yeah. Yeah, not surprising.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yep.
Here they are.
So I know.
Last year's kind of an anomaly, right? A little bit. I mean, they weren't like way down the rankings. I know they didn't make top 25, but that might have been more surprising, right, than actually being where they're at right now. So,
Right.
but they got to compete with the Colts, right?
I was
And they've had
expecting the
histories with
Lodi
other.
teams to be more competitive with the drop of the Titans. They used to having 3 teams in Lodi,
Mhm.
and now they're down to 2, right? So you would expect that Lodi would have this bounce.
Right, right. And I mean, yeah, I guess they're there, right, where they should be. But with the reduction of teams in that town, you'd expect it to go higher. But I don't know. You see a lot of people traveling to be on teams too. So there's a lot of North Stockton teams, a lot of North Stockton teams. So if they want, if they want to go there, they can. Galt's not too far away. Got Calaveras teams that aren't too far away. Sometimes even that corridor right there, they can go up and down. So, yeah, I think like I said with Colts, you're gonna have to do kind of a top down or bottom up approach with systems, and you gotta kind of build that. At least the verbiage be all the same. That way you can kind of filter your talent up. That way, if they want to climb even higher in the rankings, it's probably going to take that to get them there. Just because recruiting for talent is always going to be difficult in Lodi, always.
Yeah, super competitive all the time, because you have Stockton teams, like you said, dragging people in and out of Lodi. Lodi just trying to hold on and bring everybody back. Lodi is still kind of a small populace, a stagnant population, hasn't really been growing all too much in recent years. I guess I know they built a lot of housing, but the actual population itself hasn't really it's gotten older, but it hasn't like gotten older in the sense like there's a kid population boom in Lodi at all. So it's gotten a little bit different here in Lodi. So I say here in Lodi like I still live in Lodi. Don't live in Lodi. All right. So, all right, let's push on. Let us know what you guys think so far in the chat. We are kind of monitoring the chat. We'll bring you guys in here a little bit. Once we get into the top 10, there's going to be much more discussion, I'm sure. All right, now let's get into number 18.
Number 18. Calaveras Jr Red.
And Calaveras makes a return to the top 25, or at least this portion of the top 25. We saw them a few years ago. Dynamite squads, very well coached. Home of the Wing T, which I know a lot of you Bay Area coaches just love Wing T. You guys just can't quit talking about it. And these people run it probably the best in the area. So we're excited to see Calaveras Junior Reds in there. I think the most disappointing part is no trophies. They actually had the best win to loss ratio in the mother load as far as the franchise go with 0 trophies. What do you guys think?
I mean, that's kind of my old stomping ground. Used to live in Valley Springs, so Calaveras, Valley Springs right in the heart of Calaveras there. So I've seen a lot of Redskins, a lot of Reds jerseys, that type of thing. They're very in tight with the high school. The community is 100% on board. I mean, we're talking Oakdale-like community, very, very into their football program. To put it in perspective, their middle school has a AstroTurf, like a actual
Toya.
fake field in their middle school. So they're definitely they're about football there. So yeah, them having probably one of the best win to loss ratios franchise wise is not that surprising for Calaveras considering how into football they are. But yeah, it's just they did not finish this year at all. I think if they did, even if they had just a few levels,
Just one,
I
I
mean,
think,
we're
would have made
talking,
the difference.
yeah, we're probably talking, they're probably inching into at least the top 10, at least the top 10. And so I know we're a little bit disappointed by the results, but being a part of the Facebook groups, they were more disappointed. I assure you, there was definitely kind of a "Oh, that
No,
was not good enough" type
no,
thing.
no
And we're just,
team less than 8
yeah,
wins.
yeah.
No level less than 8 wins and no
There
trophy.
were teams going into the playoffs undefeated that did not make it
Yeah.
to the Super Bowl. So
It was tragedy across
there was
the
a
board.
lot of a lot of hard pills to swallow after this season. So, but I would expect them to be right back in this top 25 next year. No,
Yeah.
they should have no problems here. It's just getting over that final hump. That's got to be their objective.
One of the few areas left in the 209 where the reason what they run and why they run it is passed down from generation to generation. So you guys, like I said, they mock the wing tee, they run the fly version of the wing tee over there, and
Hmm.
it's what they know, it's what they're good at, and it's why they've been so stable for so many years, year in, year out, regardless of the talent that they're picking up in a very small population pool. So, what do you think, Coach Ralph Calaveras, Junior Reds or the Redskins back in top
I think it's the
25
name
here?
change. It's the name change.
It's the name
It's
change.
all about the name change.
Yeah, Calaveras, Redskins. Those are the teams that were winning Super Bowls. Now they were Reds.
Yeah,
Yep.
we might see them change their name again though. So keep
Oh,
keep
To
that in
that's
what?
mind.
right. The Red
Because the
Hawks,
high
was it?
school finally decided what they were going to be, and now they're the high school is the Red Hawks. So we might see them go
Oh, that's right.
from Reds. Because the reason why they picked Reds is because they didn't know what the high school was going to be. Because the high school didn't pick anything. So
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Well,
Let's
if
go ahead.
anybody's got the lowdown on all that, put it in the chat, please.
Yes.
Yeah, let us know. We are monitoring the chat. You guys got a little quiet, but we're going to go over into number 17 here. And here they are.
Number 17, Patterson Ravens.
That's right, Patterson Ravens, another team making another appearance here in the top 25. Not really strangers, but they've been around before, but they're up 11 spots. They barely missed it last year in the number 28 spot. This is a team where I think it's Townsville from the Modesto Rams. I kind of saw your video. I hope you're okay with that. For the highlights, I had a tough time finding video, but you're the one that's been grabbing the video for me. I appreciate it. I saw some big boys out there in Patterson, which is not really that surprising if you know Patterson. You know Patterson. This is like Farmville, Modesto. I love Patterson and their high school and the triple option that they run that's out there. I wonder if they still run that triple option. I hope they do. Because I know you Bay Area guys love the triple option so much, and I can't stop talking about it because you guys love it so much. So, but yeah, they had some big kids, not just on the line, but they even had them in the backfield too, having them run around. And just like Mac Dre is saying in the chat right now, huge kids. Other people confirming, yes, they were very, very big. So not really a huge surprise to see them back here and in such a nice spot. 17, that's really good. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's not that surprising. That whole community went from, a little bitty thing when I was doing internet work out there to all of a sudden, Amazon moved in, just
Right.
exploded. So they went from throwing hay to throwing Amazon packages, but it's definitely, they're off on their own. They don't compete. There's really nothing to compete, recruiting wise. It's just this little town off of Highway 5. So, yeah, had the privilege of coaching against Patterson before and coaching against the triple option and that type of thing. So I'm very familiar with the community and that area. So yeah.
Yeah, and I've coached against Patterson, not the actual Ravens themselves, but even at the youth team. There's always there's a big Polynesian population, I think, that's out there too as well, and they just have some huge kids out there too. It's just amazing. Mark is saying a shout out to the Ravens too. We appreciate you guys for being subscribers, and then also we're getting Patterson has some very talented kids in the chat, and I'm glad you agree because the rankings, the algorithm certainly felt that they earned that 17 spot. So big time 17. So let's get into number 16. Here's 16, everybody.
Number 16, Calaveras Junior Titans.
So Chavez Junior Titans, certainly no strangers to the top 25. In fact, this might actually disappoint some people coming down from your number 11 spot. Their 12U, probably the most dominant JV team we got to see all year. These guys were fantastic. They were fast, they were big, they were well coached, and they were very, very aggressive. Even Coach Ralph and I started sprinkling in some of our little 05 nostalgia back in there too as well. And they were a good squad, and so they might be disappointed in actually them feeling like this is a low spot for them, but actually this is a really good spot, I think, for the Chavez Junior Titans here at 16. What do you think, Coach Mike?
Yeah. Their JV team is probably the best JV team that we've seen in years. Definitely they had that swagger about them, and they just proved it every day. It was no contest. I think I'm gonna go out on a very small limb here, that they probably had the best JV period in the entire league. We saw a lot of JV teams. That one I don't think it was a contest. So definitely I would love to see their franchise get out of the DY, not necessarily get out of the league, but once the season's over, go to some of these out of conference matchups, turkey bowls, whatever you want to call them, and really because I think if they branch out, their franchise can only get better. Because once you see what's out there, you pick up ideas, you pick up little nifty tweaks and things like that, and you can really understand kind of the nuances of different styles as well. And it makes you a better defensive coordinator too.
Yeah. And Chavez as a franchise, and this is the reason why the rank's so low, just barely a tad bit over 20 wins for a franchise in the entire season, 12 of them coming from their JV squad alone. So you can imagine how rough of a time it was ago at a really competitive DYFL north side of that bracket in the Delta Youth Football League. They struggled through these other squads, but not the JV. The JV just steamrolled everybody. They walked through that league, no problem. And like you said, it'd be great to see them in the postseason. A little bit to their defense, they did see some people before the Jamboree from the Central Valley Youth Football Cheer. It was not the competitive side of the Central Valley Youth Football, the Youth Football and Cheer League that was out there. That was a brand new team getting their feet wet, going up against really tough JV squad, but they have some talent from those lower levels that are starting to look good. They had a little bit of sprinkled talent in at the varsity level. They just got to get it all together. We talked about it some years ago where stability is the challenge for Chavez if they want to be back in that top 10 year after year after year. They're going to have to find that stability because the talent is not the issue for them, as we saw, especially with their JV squad this year.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we got some call-outs from the Turlock Bulldogs. Their 11U squad, they were contenders too as well, but they're trying to call out some Chavez team out there too. That would be a game I would pay to see for sure. Turlock Bulldogs JV versus the Chavez Titans. That would be
if nothing, just to see the styles clash, right? Because they're very, very different. I don't know if the Turlock has watched Chavez play, but it is definitely not what you see week in and week out in your league. So they definitely open it up, and they have no problems, and they got talent in all the right spots. So that's the reason why they did so well.
Yeah.
You just couldn't account for everybody. It was impossible.
Yeah, you had to match them athlete for athlete, which I don't think anybody was able to do the entire time. But yeah, Coach Ralph is saying we definitely need a tournament, and I agree. We're definitely going to need a tournament there for Empire there at the end of next year. Something I'm going to be hell bent on doing. I was trying to do that this year, but we got that obstacle with all our stolen equipment. That was not going to happen. It was going to be one or the other. Obviously, we chose something a little bit more sustainable with getting our equipment back to make sure we keep doing this for you guys. All right, let's jump in. We're going to go number 15.
Number 15. Manteca Jr Bucks.
All right, Manteca Jr Buffaloes, ex-Timberwolves in the house right now. They're no stranger to the top 25. A dynamite JV team. Excuse me. Good rookie team, too, as well. We saw them in the Turkey Bowl.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we got to see the Manteca Junior Buffaloes absolutely steamroll the Tracy Rampage. I enjoyed the cleanness of their offense. They did all the fundamental things really solidly. So they had, the proper stances, the proper separation, the proper get-offs, the handoffs. Everything was where it should be at the end of the season. You should have all those things ironed out, and really, in that, they just beat the Tracy Rampage with fundamentals when it just came down to it. So, we should see the Manteca Buffaloes. I think I said this last year that they should be in top 25 no matter what every time. But they do have a lot of competition in their area. They're in a competitive league, and they got to finish right because that JV team did not win the Super Bowl that year. They got upset. So that's the big thing. Got to finish.
That was a big game when we went to the Turkey Bowl to look at to see where Central Valley Youth Football and Cheer kind of stacks up with Delta, particularly at the top end, right? And you had Tracy Rampage at that 12U level. They got handed to by the Chavez Junior Titans. They also got handed to by the Manteca Junior Buffaloes, who were not the winners or the eventual winners of the Super Bowl in that league. That was the Lodi Junior Flames at that 12U level that did really well. So, but no team with a losing record on there. I got Manteca Junior Buffaloes at 32 wins in total and only 9 losses on the season as a franchise. Really, really solid. Great to see them turn back to true form, especially with the name change and things like that. We talked about that last year with a little bit of a name change that might be tough for recruiting. The stability looks like it's still there. The competitiveness looks like it's still there. And that's a rough physical team because they play some smash mouth football out of Manteca right there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Definitely. All right.
Love watching them play.
Yeah. They're well coached all the way up and down, and they're very, like you said, clean. Good get-offs, good pad levels. Everything is very clean for them. All right, let's move on to number 14.
Number 14. Manteca Cowboys.
Yeah, Manteca Cowboys. Old school, definitely the kind of team that you're always going to see in the top 25. They've been around forever, and they're a varsity team. Arguably one of the best in the 209. Some might even argue the best in the 209. We were lucky to see them a handful of times this year. They actually tested their might against some of the best in the area, including the Junior Rams, as you see on the screen, and they spanked the Junior Rams out there on their home turf when they came out there. That was amazing. I couldn't believe the outcome of that game. They were very talented, and even when the Junior Rams loaded the box, 11 people ready to stop the run, they just couldn't do it. They had way too much firepower. They collapsed everybody down, and then they got away from it with number 18 and then also number 6 for that varsity team. I think the only reason why they're ranked down so low, even though their varsity was the eventual Super Bowl winners there, is just their other levels just not finishing out. They They combined 27 wins on the year, but that Super Bowl trophy definitely helped them elevate just a little bit above the Manteca Junior Buffaloes. That Super Bowl trophy is just a big boost for any teams on the top 25.
Yeah, and then when you have the out of conference play and you put up and you get somebody else to kind of shut up, it definitely plays into, oh, well, that algorithm ranks league strength and it will shift things around. So when these leagues play other leagues and it shifts around like that, it definitely is going to play a factor. So that varsity squad was solid. They had some talent that I'm sure we'll hear a lot about in the coming years in high school. So it lot of fun to watch. And if we can get the other levels to be as dominant as that varsity team was, they could get into the top five. And it seems like that groundwork has already been laid. They seem like they're not scared to get out and play people. So, and if that keeps happening, they're gonna keep getting better. So I'm excited to see Manteca Cowboys really climb. Yeah.
And we got that a correction too as well. They said the Manteca Junior Buffaloes at that 8U level did win the Super Bowl. So my mistake. Like I said, it's 60 plus teams. I'm trying to keep a track of. I got the
It's the
algorithm
12
over here,
that was like I think undefeated, and then
and
they
then ended
lost
up
in the
losing.
Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
and
Yeah, that was their JV. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So, but it's impressive to see Manteca in general pop out two very, very powerful football teams
Yeah.
out there, feeding
And
into
if
the high schools out there.
Yeah, and Cowboys is one of those teams where I think if you're coming from all these other leagues, you don't know who they are, right? It's a very generic name, right? So and they're not really all that flashy on social media or anything like that. We don't hear a lot, about them. But when they're like, yeah, we'll come play, sure. And those are the teams you got to be worried about, right? The ones that have no like hesitation in coming to play. So and they proved exactly why that is. So. So I want to see more of that, lots more of that.
Sure.
It was great to watch.
They're the Manteca Cowboys are definitely what we want to see out of every other team, which is that postseason play, go play, test it out. The algorithm still gives you a bump if you go play postseason games. So even though you might have put another one in the loss column, actually more games played weights you a little bit heavier than less games played. So if you have a short season, that could be kind of tough. But if you go play extra games in the postseason, same thing. If you make the playoffs, it's going to reward you for making playoffs, even if you picked up an L. But it'll definitely not hurt you to go play in the postseason and still pick up some L's against some really good teams. And I think it was Tracy Rampage that put that L on the Cowboys.
It could help you, right? And it could help your overall league strength. So maybe you didn't do so hot, in the postseason of your league. But if you go into another league and you trample over their Super Bowl champion, now it elevates not only your team, but the whole league. It's like you got to kind of reevaluate. Like, oh, maybe we misjudged it a little bit. Maybe that the leagues aren't so close. Maybe it is a bigger space in between. So.
For sure.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, so let's get back into it. We're gonna go ahead. Here's number 13.
Number 13. Argonaut Jr Mustangs.
All right, Argonaut Jr Mustangs in just fantastic form. I think they brought home 2 Super Bowls, or at least competed for 2 Super Bowls in the Mother Lode Youth Football League. They had a dynamite 10U squad that came in and upset an undefeated Amador Junior Buffaloes. Mother Lode was really competitive in that category. They even had some other squads that did really well. Racked up a ton of wins out there in the Mother Lode Youth Football scene. So it was fun. It was fun to watch them, especially the little guys. The little guys, they were ultra competitive, and they were quick too. And they had some quarterbacks that could throw at the 12U level. When they played the Houston Huskies in the Super Bowl, but they ended up dropping to the Houston Huskies. So ton of wins for Argonaut Junior Mustangs. I'm glad to see a Mother Lode team ranked so highly. I know that Mother Lode tends to be pretty top heavy, particularly at the 14U level, and just with the Super Bowl teams, those are the most competitive. And then there's just like a steep drop off for the rest of the league, which is unfortunate. So what do you guys think about Argonaut getting a spot towards the top of the 25?
Welcome back.
Right?
Welcome back. Near and dear to our hearts.
And I think
Yeah.
that area is only going to get more competitive, right? You'd imagine.
Uh,
Understanding.
yeah, being from that is my backyard. So, it's I guess it's not surprising that the younger levels are the ones that are starting to really stand out. And then for those who don't know, they're actually going to be closing the Amador High School, and it's going to be combining with Argonaut High School. So we actually might, I don't know if it's going to trickle down to the youth level where those combine, but if that does happen, they are going to be steamrolling that league. When you combine the programs like that together, it's probably, I hope they keep it separate, but if it does combine, they're going to be running the table on everybody. There'd be way too many kids and talent for that. So, and then to kind of explain the lower levels and compared to the top levels, there's a bunch of new families moving into this area. A bunch. The prison has been expanding. The housing is like blowing up crazy. It's turning into a little commuter town to Elk Grove and Sacramento. So there's just really all this boom of new families. So we're starting to see it now. Those younger kids are there, and then I think as the years go on, we're going to be seeing, bigger things continue as
So what I'm
they get
hearing you
older.
say is combine now because eventually you're going to have to split again for how fast they're growing out there. So get your wins in while you can, Amador and
Well,
Argonaut.
like the high school, like they won state. I mean, they're not. The high school is not. This area is not. They're used to winning. And we were there when the Argonaut Mustangs played their first games ever as a franchise, back in 2005. And yeah, I think from day one they had the clout.
They
From
did.
day one they had clout, and they still have it, I think, and they'll just continue. And they're one of those teams that I hope that get out of the foothills and play other teams like a postseason. They can 100% do it. I mean, they will show up on Thanksgiving to play if they have to. I think it's just they just got to get out of that bubble. I think they've been in it so long.
Yeah. Going
So,
back to the chat here a little bit. What's up, Seth? I seen you on a little bit ago there. Bobcats, unfortunately, no longer ranked, although if they were ranked, they'd be number one, of course. Of course.
It's all the coaching. It was all about coaching.
Of
Yeah.
There you
course.
go.
Number one.
Yes.
Always number
There you
one.
go.
No, but that was once upon a time. No longer will they be. But and then also coming back to the chat too, a lot of shout outs to the junior buffs in there. Central Valley Lions is mentioned. Great Wolf Lodge. That's funny. Not the actual company, but a user was shouting out the Weston Ranch Cougars. I'm pretty sure this guy's been bugging me a long time to come out and see Weston Ranch. Weston Ranch, you got to get it together across the board. There's a ton of talent. We 100% see that there's talent out of that Western Ranch. Somebody's got to
We've
organize
coached against it.
Yeah, coached against it many times. They've always loaded with talent. They just got to get it together with the organization itself, right? Not taking a shot at franchises. I'm talking about organization as far as playbooks and coaching practice plans and structure, all those things. I feel like that's just the missing puzzle piece to see Western Ranch just take off and be something like the South Stockton Vikings, where there's going to be a lot of history and heritage that
easily
could build
could.
out of the Western Ranch area. So,
Definitely.
Absolutely.
all right, we're going to move into number 12, keeping it moving along so we're not making you guys wait too much here.
Number 12. Calaveras Redskins.
Another Motherlode team making it to the number 12 spot. Motherlode, we saw them at the varsity against a stacked Ripon Chiefs team that was looking to steal one from them. The Sonora G's Cats are back-to-back Super Bowl champions at the 14U level. They're pretty solid across the board. They were very tall, very big, and they run my favorite kind of offense, of course, which is that triple option that they have, and it's fun to watch them play. They were a little rusty in the 14U area here. I felt it was kind of an ugly game. Ugly in the sense where there was like a lot of mistakes that you wouldn't normally see in a Super Bowl game. There was a ton of turnovers, ton of fumbles, ton of muff snaps and misreads and things like that. I was kind of disappointed. But overall, Sonora gets it done once again. The target on their back and still coming away with the trophy at that varsity level against a Ripon Chiefs franchise that filled out across the board early too as well. So what do you guys think about Sonora Junior Cats over here at number 12 spot?
Yeah.
Able to get there.
Yep. Yep. They're kind of I think, that between like 10 and 15, they're going to be stuck here a while. Just because I think rarely do they ever put any official games outside of their league on the books. Very rarely do they go outside. And then, they're right down the road from Oakdale. They have scrimmaged them before. So I know they're not foreign to this idea of getting outside of their league and scrimmaging, but I'd love to see them participate in an actual game outside the league. And I think if they do that, from top to bottom, because they really do well in their league year after year after year, no problems. They're no strangers to Super Bowls in that league. So I think if they do start branching out just a little bit, it'll get really interesting. I think in those mid levels, I think they're always solid there, and I think they surprise people by how big some of those
Yes.
Hills kids are. I think because you watch the highlights, but it's all relative, right? But if you put them next to, I don't know, a Lodi team, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, like
Kids are taller than the
that
coaches on
kid's
average.
12? No way, he's 6'1". It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all four of them are over 6 foot or something. So yeah, there's sometimes that happens. So they grow 'em big.
Yeah, I love watching the Mother Load League because they're usually that way too. They're pretty big.
Hmm.
Big.
Yep, yep. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and continue to push forward here for the sake of time. So congratulations, Sonora Junior Cats, getting that number 12 spot and number 11 just outside the top 10. Here we go. Here's number 11.
Number 11. Los Banos Wildcats.
All right, Los Banos Wildcats. Again, you're seeing their 7 and under level up on the screen. These guys are making a return and trying to knock off the Oakdale Stampedes. Came up a little bit short. The level above them did really well. But these young guys, they were very physical, and there was a lot of talent across the board in a very, very competitive SynCal league and against a very competitive Oakdale team, which Coach Mike has said in previous podcasts, that is always like the bar, right? If you know you're going to be good if you can knock off the Oakdale Stampede. They were unable to do so in the actual, the trophy round, so to speak. But I enjoy watching their young kids, and that franchise is starting to build up too, because now it's not just their 7U level that's doing good. Their 9U level that moved up from last year is actually doing really well. Didn't quite get to the Super Bowl round, but did have a pretty decent season and making it to the number 11 spot in a very competitive SynCal league. So another Los Banos team, by the way.
Yeah,
On the top
yeah.
25.
I think they have the foundation for that kind of like that trickle up thing, where you take the level and they keep coming up. And if you keep reinforcing the good habits and you keep you stick with something familiar all the way through, yeah, they're gonna be a problem. They're gonna be a problem. So if they have that structure in place, that look out, definitely look out, because that area will surprise people. I think definitely.
And it didn't look like they were scared of anybody, at least at the younger levels at 7U. They were ready to go to war with Oakdale. They wanted it bad, too. And you could see from those kids the amount of effort that they were putting in, just sticking with the Oakdale speed, and in some cases outrunning the Oakdale speed. We saw that from the opening play or opening plays. I think it was the second play of the game. Their quarterback / running back just took a snap, couple moves, sideline, gone, end zone. And he was a bigger kid too. So kind of excited to see Los Banos pick up not just some size but some speed too as well. And then they're competing with the best of them. SynCal is no joke. That's a tough, especially on that side of it,
Very.
the NFC side. No, AFC side. Their NFC. Excuse me, NFC side. Still very tough. Turlock Jr Pride and those kinds of people on your side of the bracket. So, yeah. Coach Ralph,
Yeah.
we saw some Los Banos. What do you think?
I'm happy that they're able to draw enough to have two very competitive teams. I mean, you hear a lot and said, "Oh, we're pulling from each other and we're watering it down, this and that and the other." But there's a great example. They're not a huge town,
No.
and look, they got two on the charts there, so good for them.
I think that's what makes the 209 unique, especially when, we often get compared to the metropolitan areas in Sacramento and in, the Bay Area. They talk about the Central Valley a lot. Trust me, I hear about it all the time. They love talking about the Central Valley. And I think the reason for that is because we have not a big pool of population to pull this talent from. It takes a lot of recruiting work and some off-season work to get these kids in. And these towns, as much as they like to diss these old farm towns that no one's ever heard about, guess what? Half the city plays football, right? It's what they do,
Yes.
right? It kind of gives you that deep
There's
South,
not much
Texas
else
feel.
to do. Most of these towns don't even have a movie theater. Like,
They don't
what
even
else
have
are
the
they gonna
internet
do?
speed to play gaming out there, so they're gonna go outside. So, but no, that's exactly my point. Like we're still able to in the 209 muster up these really competitive teams in the 209 from basically out of nothing. Because we're only talking to not even 10,000 people in some of these towns where you talk about Bay Area where like minimum cap is 500,000 to 1 million. So
Yeah, the Argonaut Jr Mustangs from my own is a town of 7,500 people. So
yeah.
if the high schools winning state and they're running over private schools down in Southern California, it's probably because we don't got anything else to do.
That's it. Play football, right? All right. So congratulations, Los Banos, the city of Los Banos in general, but the Los Banos Wildcats at the number 11 spot, just shy of breaking into the top 10. But now let's get into the top 10. Let us know in the chat if you guys agree. We're about to get into it. Top 10, number 10 on its way.
Number 10. Central Saints.
The Central Saints snuck into the top 10 once again, moving no spots. They were number 10 last year, getting into the Super Bowl at the varsity level and just got kind of smacked by just a very, 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 I can't say this, but a very talented 14U team that was out there. They run the same old song and dance, and that's what gets them back in the same old spot in the top 25 at that number 10 spot. I think, let's see if I can check it out here real quick. Central Saints, yeah. Team with 10 wins, team with 9 wins, team with 6 wins, and I think their youngest level is the one that struggled a little bit the most with that 4 and 6. But the Central Saints still getting it done in a tough Atlantic division of the TVYFL, and yeah, they're doing well. And Dre, our number 1 fan, who's on the stream right now, plays for the Central Saints, and he's been our fan for a long time. We appreciate Dre. We got to finally meet him in person this year. Yeah, shout out to Dre if he's still on the chat. And but yeah, Central Saints, man, good job. Top 10 snuck in there once again. What do you guys think about Central Saints stagnant at the 10 spot?
Hey, that's a solid team, though. They're again somebody you have to watch out for. So
What do you think?
them.
What do you think Central Saints have to do to move up from the 10 spot? Because my general feeling watching the Central Saints is I don't see them moving up. I don't really see them moving down too much, if at all. But I don't really see a trajectory going up. What do you guys think they have to do in order to break into the top 5?
They need to step outside that box because we were watching some games and there were some levels. We'll let it go at that, but they need to expand their playbook, stop doing the norm, and maybe really self-evaluate the coaching and the positioning of players. We saw a lot going on out there, and we're like, why is this person playing here? Maybe he should play there, and so on and so forth. But yeah, just the same old song and dance is going to keep you in the same old number 10 spot. So maybe trying to expand your horizons, go to some clinics and see some different things.
Right. And Coach Hernandez in the chat saying that they knocked off the Ripon Knights after the Ripon Knights played an excellent regular season game against the Central Saints. And Central Saints came back in the playoffs and actually knocked out the Ripon Knights, which was a big surprise. That's a huge upset right there. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of moving parts to reason why they won and lost. But I tend to agree with you, Coach Ralph. I feel like probably the rest of the Central Saints, there's more to that franchise. There's more to that team if we could, branch out just a little bit more. We're not saying get rid of I-backs. Keep your I-backs. There ain't nothing wrong with I-backs. What's wrong with the I-backs? You run 5 plays and just 5 plays. You run fullback dive, right? You run the lead, you run the toss, you run a trap or some sort of counter, and then you got the play action pass. I didn't see anything else. We've been watching Central Saints for a while. You guys, what you guys do in those 5 is really, really good. I get it. And you guys are really good in the blocking scheme. You guys are getting it done. You guys get the number 10 spot, and maybe we're being way overcritical for a number 10 team in the top 25, which is probably true. But like we're ready to see Central Saints do some things, right? Like they're really good.
Right.
We see the talent. They had a giant quarterback at the varsity level, had a cannon for an arm, and he was very physical too. And it's like, man, we just want to see more, right? Like just a little bit more. We're not asking you to be somebody different, just a little bit more. That's all we're asking
Right.
for.
On it.
And in historic, like, I mean, I remember watching him in 2009. Okay, they were strictly a wing T team, like traditional wing T from top to bottom, and they, good, especially at the varsity level, very good at all levels. So I'm not saying they have to go something, you don't have to go wing T or anything like that. But even like in wing T, for example, you have a much wider variety of plays. They all look the same in the beginning, though, which kind of adds to the mystique of every single play. So if you want to do that, something like that at IBAX, you could probably do that. But it might take something as simple as that. And if your verbiage isn't the same at every level, it should be. That way you're not having to relearn everything at the beginning of every year, even though you played like 2 years already, and just because you moved up a level, you gotta learn a whole new system or new verbiage. So if you don't have that, just doing that would probably start to push your franchise in general up more spots.
I saw a little bit of them, throw in a wing. They had some twins packages, but I think their twins packages was a little bit more of sneaking in MPR, which I think is a whole separate thing that they're going to have to really look hard at. To maybe they might have to cap registration. I know, like I said, the money's good when you're registering, but managing that many kids when you got 50 on the sideline and you got a minimum play rule for TVYFL, I think that has a lot to do with their strategy and teaching that many kids too as well. That could be hamstringing them a little bit. Might look at capping at 35 or 40. That might be a good idea for the Central Saints to make sure they can get a little bit more room for that creativity. So, all right. Central Saints, right? We got some shout outs, some disappointments too as well. They know they're a good team. They got disappointed in the playoffs in a tough Atlantic side division. Some people are saying too much politics. Mr. Jeremy Aguirre, there's politics that you're never going to be able to get away from, man. I get it. We feel you on that too. We feel you on that. But influence, right? Gain some notoriety within the franchise and start to influence, right? You're going to have to do things kind of the old-fashioned way, and then once people start to trust you a little bit, start to move into some of that creativity, but you have to gain the trust and the influence of that franchise. They've been around for a long time, and it's the reason why they're so protective of it. So, all right. Getting into now the number 9, the single digits. You guys ready for this one?
Let's do it.
Number 9. South Stockton Vikings.
South Stockton Vikings, not just back in the top 25, in the top 10, where I think they should be. I think we saw probably the best 14U South Stockton Vikings team we have ever seen. And they were no short on the talent side, too, as well. I mean, they got the same old speed, the same physicality from people that aren't loading on the pound, but they are loading the trucks. They're definitely hitting these people downhill with their wishbone, and they ran into a tough Tracy Rampage team, but they weren't intimidated, like, at all. They came in, and they just, full tilt. And they were just outclassed. It wasn't anything that they had, they could have done better, at least in my eyes, because the effort was definitely there. The coaching prep was there. I was really, really impressed with the turnaround of the coaching across the board for the South Stockton Vikings. I know they hit us. They said, you guys are too critical. We're changing things. We're doing all this stuff. Whatever you guys did, it worked.
We see it.
It worked.
We see it.
It worked.
Yeah.
So congratulations, South Stockton Vikings, number 9.
Look at all these other teams that we kind of are critical of and structure and all that other stuff. You weren't the only one. But now, like, the change is there. We appreciate that. So just stay on path. Stay on path.
Stay the course.
It's working. Stay the course. Right? It's looking good. And your area is just loaded with talent. And here's the thing. When I say this area is loaded with talent, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, you got like this burner kid and that burner kid. No, we're talking like these kids end up in the NFL. That talent. That talent. Okay? Some of these kids
Seen it.
who played in this area have been in the NFL. They
think
go to the NFL.
There's some
So,
coaches that make appearances that played in the NFL. So
yes, yes. So when we say this area is loaded with talent, oh yeah, oh yeah. This is the top of like the country as far as talent comes from. So they're solid. So they
Coach Ralph,
stay course.
Coach Ralph, you saw us, or you saw with me. We were out there at Franklin High School watching that 14U South Stockton Vikings team play. What'd you think?
I was very impressed. Very impressed. I'm very happy. I mean, we're always critical to hometown because we know the potential. And it's more frustration
Yeah.
than anything else. And now we're actually seeing the fruits of the labor. You know, okay, you can tell us you're going to change. Everybody says you're going to change, but it doesn't happen. We saw it happen. We saw it, not just cheese ball left, cheese ball right. You got your burner, go outrun them. Anybody can do that. But when you have a structure, an offensive structure, that's exciting because you can't go to that next level if all you're doing is outrun them that way, outrun them this way. You know, you got to learn.
Which sometimes they get away with even at the high school level because that's how talented some of these kids are when they get to the high school
Yep.
level. That's for sure. But no, really proud of the South Stockton Vikings. Definitely where they belong in the top 10. No doubt about it. It's always a disappointment
Absolutely.
when they're not top 10. They know it. We know it. It's just nice to see them back in the number 9 spot. And we're really excited to see what they got for us in the future too as well. All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Number 8. I think maybe surprising to some, but not surprising to them. Here's number 8.
Number 8. Merced Junior Knights.
All right, Merced Junior Knights. We heard a bunch about this Pacific team out in the TBYSL, capturing the number 8 spot. No team under a 500 record. I believe they even got a Super Bowl out of it too, popping 30 plus wins out of the Trans Valley Youth Football League, and even beating a tremendous amount of good teams on the Pacific side too as well. So I was unfortunate. I had to go steal. Thank you, Mr. Townsell, by the way, your YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him because I just stole all that video. That was the scrimmage from Modesto Rams against the Merced Junior Knights. And I think he's a Modesto Rams guy, but he's very fair about putting in some of those Merced Junior Knights highlights. So shout out to you. That's a classy thing to do. I like that. I love when people just put out, hey, this is the scrimmage. This is what it was. Here's the good, the bad, and the ugly. I love that stuff. It's not just highlight. And Merced Junior Knights going to that postseason stuff. They're getting into the Turkey Bowl. They turned some heads out there too as well. And just think of it this way for my Merced Junior Knights out there. If they're talking trash on you, that's a good thing. You're getting recognized. You're getting talked
on the
about.
radar.
You're turning heads. You're on the radar. Whenever somebody trash talks the Valley or the 209 or the channel, whatever I do, hey, man, I'm glad you're watching. I'm just glad you're watching. And you know what? Merced Junior Knights, well deserving of this top 10 spot. I think if I have this right, let me check it real quick. I think they might be the most improved team. Oh, no. Los Banos Wildcats, most improved team. 36 spots up. But Merced Junior Knights up 30 spots from the number 38. So they've been kind of hanging out underneath that top 25 spot and then just right through the roof into that number 8 spot. So congratulations, Merced Junior Knights at number 8. I know you guys get to see them too much, but what do you think about Merced Junior Knights, especially on the Pacific side of the Trans Valley Youth Football League getting up here?
I think they're gonna have to just drag that kind of like a weight of that league along. Like, come on, guys, we're better than this, like type thing. And Merced Junior Knights is the one yanking that chain the hardest right now, right? But we're starting to see, you know, just in general, that area really starting to really break in, obviously. And yeah, it's another one of the. If you're not from, if you haven't heard of them, or you think you're the best in your area or the best in the area, but you don't know who Merced Junior Knights in, you probably should rethink that whole thing. So keep your eye out. I think they're gonna make repeated visits up in this top 10 area now that things have seemed to stabilize in the Merced area. So yeah, it's gonna get real interesting here soon.
So we saw a couple other Pacific teams, Coach Ralph, too, and we watched Central Valley Outlaws and Modesto Raiders. But what do you say about Merced Junior Knights hitting the number 8
It's
spot?
another reason why I love doing these rankings because it sheds light on a lot of these good franchises. Some that you never really hear of will go, oh yeah, I heard about them. But this is why I enjoy doing this because we get to go out, we get to see these teams, and we're like, okay, these guys are legit, and I'm happy for them. Well done, very well done, Merced.
Yeah, I would. Shameless plug here. I would love to have a representative from the Merced Junior Knights on to do a podcast with us, just to kind of
Absolutely.
to tell us, hey, some people didn't see you coming. What's up with that? We want to know what you guys are doing over there because what you guys are doing is definitely working out for you guys. So congratulations, Merced Junior Knights, number 8 spot. Big kudos to you guys. Really proud of them. In the chat, Merced Junior Knights have been in my chat for quite a while. Definitely a team we have to make a point to go see next year. I think Coach Ralph, Coach Mike, we definitely got to go
Yeah,
see Merced
I
Junior
think
Knights. We got to.
they've earned it, right? They
Absolutely.
definitely. I mean, we probably should have been out there a long time ago, but it's it's a bit of a drive once you get past Modesto and Turlock. It's like, yeah, we gotta keep going, right? But maybe we'll see
Yeah.
what that
Staff
area
is
is all
limited.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, it's the staff that's limited. If any of you guys want to work for free and you guys actually have some technical expertise and you want to put in 20 hours completely at no charge, hit me up.
you have to wake up at 3 in the morning
Yeah, 3, 4 in the
to get
morning.
ready to
Right in the
drive to an
cold,
area.
First in, last out. There's
in the
no
rain.
100 plus degree weather, freezing cold. I'm making a good pitch here to actually do what we do. All right, let's get into it. Number 7, here we go.
Number 7. Brittany Knight.
Oh yeah, no strangers here. Probably even to the top 10. Another solid franchise, putting up 35 total wins on the season, making it to a couple Super Bowls as well, putting up some good fights and actually some upsets in the playoffs that kind of stunted some seasons or closed some seasons a little bit earlier than they anticipated. But Ripon Knights, we're good friends now with Coach Hernandez, who's been a great host for us. Also, a big shout out to the Ripon Knights organization in particular. The people that you guys have on staff is first class, first of all. From the time we arrived to do, our live streams or setting us up with they're so accommodating. I mean, it's the most welcoming atmosphere we could be in. Also, I want to make a big shout out to that area in particular, Ripon Chiefs, Ripon Knights, that whole community. When we got our stuff stolen, there's people donating from that area. I mean, we absolutely adore everything you guys are doing out there, and we really appreciate it. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. What you guys did for us was amazing. Some of the largest donations came out of that area from the coaching staff, from the parents. And you guys are just a first-class organization from top to bottom. I really cannot speak highly enough of the Ripon Knights, not just as an organization earning the number 7 spot, but you guys do a hell of a job coaching up these kids to put yourself at a number 7 spot, which is still really high. I know they're ultra competitive. They want a top 5. They're gunning. There's another team gunning for the number 1 spot right there. It's Ripon Knights, and they know they're close. They know they're close. If they could
They're
just tie
right
up
on the
a few
cusp.
things on the back end in the postseason, they could really do it. So, what do you guys
When
think?
you think about when we started doing these rankings, right? I don't even know if they were on the list in 2019, were they?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think back.
2018, I think is when we first published the first ranking. I think
Yeah,
they were in
but
the bottom half. Yeah.
they had like a real bad down year, right? And so
Yeah, that was
they
in
kind of
2019.
yeah, so they were off the radar for a lot of people. And I remember them screaming, "No, no, we're way better. No, we're way better. We're way better than that." Like just repeatedly. It's like, "No, no, we'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back." Well, here we are. Ripon Knights they're back and they're headhunting. They definitely have their eyes on those top spots. So they're another one of those teams where if you don't know who they are, you're not who's who in the zoo. So Ripon Knights are definitely that team where if they're on the schedule, you better prepare because they come prepared every game. I love all the levels seem to be like that where they're just prepared. They know what the other team is running. The kids are familiar, so it's no surprise that their franchise racks up what mid 30 some 34 wins
Yeah.
as a franchise. Like it's a ridiculous amount of wins for a franchise. So yeah, it's no longer surprising to see another Ripon team, right? Just tearing up the charts here. So good for them.
Coach Ralph, what do you think? Ripon Knights, you were there with us too, meeting
I
Coach
love the
Hernandez and the
whole
crew.
atmosphere. I mean, it was just like I know it's cliche and they say, but it was like a family run. They were very welcoming. Even the parents in the stands were very welcoming. And I remember there towards the last game, you would see um, the other Ripon team, the Chiefs, just floating around in the stadium to show support. I mean, granted, it's like walking distance next door to their stadium, but
Yeah, they're literally
their whole
neighbors.
Yeah.
community,
Yeah.
right? Their whole community is excellent. We were driving around a little bit before we got there, and it's a great town, great people. I loved it there.
Yeah, and for some of you guys that might not be aware, we don't always get well received. We reach out to certain franchises, say, hey, we'd like to come video and things like that, and understandably some skepticism here and there because we can be critical sometimes. Notice we're never really critical of the kids. We're very critical of the adults, particularly the refs because they get paid. At least the adults are
Yes.
volunteers.
Yes.
but I never have any reservations about going to a Ripon game, whether it's Knights in particular or the Chiefs. If we're showing up, like they're usually really welcoming. So big props to the Ripon Knights, number 7 spot, top 10, great way to close out 2022. Happy New Year's, everyone. By the way, all right, we're gonna move into number 6. Maybe a surprise, or maybe a return.
Number 6. Big Valley Tigers.
Big Valley Savers, back in the day, I think they were a top 10 in one of our very first rankings that came out, winning 3 of 4 Super Bowls. I think they came away with 2 this year in the Trans Valley Youth Football League. And although they're on the Pacific side of the division, we're upsetting some teams on the Atlantic side of the division too as well. And they are very well coached. We got to see them a little bit last year. We got to see some this year, and they're very, very well coached. I actually love watching the Big Valley Sabres. Not only that, but I found out this year I actually have a larger fan base out of that team than I thought. So big shout out to the players that came up and said hi to me while during the Super Bowl. I was really bummed I couldn't see the varsity rematch between Hillmar and Big Valley. I thought that would have been a good game to see, but I can't. I'm one person. If I could split me in half and go opposite directions, that'd be great. But it's just not going to happen. But Big Valley Sabres coming in at the number 6 spot, just shy of the top 5, racking up. Let's see, how many wins did they get this time? 37 wins as a franchise, which is pretty much just shy of everyone making a Super Bowl and trying to go after a championship. And they came away with 2. So they beat a really talented Denair Lions team that we saw at the 12U level, a very big Denair Lions team. But they did it on the back of number 7, their running back, which is just a very talented and a very mature runner for that age group at the JV level. What do you think, Coach Ralph? Big Valley, we saw them.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm very happy for them. They're keep growing and growing and growing. You can tell that they're keeping their squads together, coming up through the ranks, and I look for more from them.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think Vince Carter got some kids that play out in Big Valley too as well. And,
Yeah.
he's associated with Elevate and whatnot. His kid was pretty dynamite. I think at the younger level, I think it was the 8U level is what we saw against Custine, and he was really good. Big Valley, a lot of growth potential for them. I don't see them dropping off anytime soon. I think they're going to hang around in this top 10 area for a while, which is, again, big ups to Trans Valley Youth Football League. Not only do you have Merced Junior or Central Saints at 10, Merced Junior Knights at 8, now Ripon Knights at 7, and now Big Valley Sabres, all representative of Trans Valley Youth Football League. And we didn't actually rank, or I should say, I didn't actually rank Trans Valley Pacific very high. Definitely not top 4 as far as league strength goes, because it's very top heavy, but it's gotten very heavy at the top. So they are starting to knock over some of these Atlantic teams. So we better watch out. Just because they're in the Pacific side doesn't mean that you're going to be able to walk all over these guys. So
Yeah, I think that they have the advantage of playing on the Atlantic side, so you can kind of compare and contrast a little bit. I think a little bit of postseason play, after would also benefit that league
Yeah.
pretty good too. Just it's just sometimes it's hard to see how good somebody is without having something to compare and contrast to. So yeah, that postseason play is definitely a must for Big Valley. I think that would be super interesting to watch.
Definitely, for sure.
Yep,
And
that'll
Jaslyn is
surprise a
saying
lot of
that
people.
Jaslyn here in the chat is saying that they are moving over into the Atlantic Division next year. So,
Oh,
hey,
mm.
even if you drop a few more games, the Atlantic Division, if that's how you guys are stacking them up as we rank them in league strength, you guys are going to get the benefit of a stronger schedule too as well. So even if you drop a few games, I still see them hanging around in the top 10 a little bit. So, yeah, everyone's saying welcome to the Atlantic. Yeah, it's one thing to kind of poke and shoot from afar at the Atlantic Division every once in a while, but it's another thing to actually go through the gauntlet of the entire year playing at those Atlantic teams and then going through the playoffs that way too as well. So got to stay healthy, got to stay coached up the whole way through. All right. All right. Let's see. All right, just kind of checking out the chat for you guys here just a little bit. I did not see what that person put. All right, thanks, Coach
Getting
Mike.
a little
Appreciate
chippy
that.
in there.
Yeah.
Chim
Yeah.
No, this is all shout out to everybody in the top 25. Anyone makes the top 25, and then again, it's the least amount of opinion that we could possibly put into it because the only subjective part that we put in it is a little bit of league strength that's in there, but it's usually not enough to do much of anything in there. It might tip the scale a little bit one way or the other, but we feel we have, I guess, that entitlement or that right because of how many games we travel to go see, how many equipment I burn through, how much of my equipment gets stolen. Yes, I feel a little
Literally.
entitled to call a little bit about league strength there. So, excuse me. All right. Now,
Nick,
top 5, right? And this is
Let's do
where the chat lights up, right? This is where I get all the hate mail. This is where I get all the YouTube comments. Here we go. All
you
right.
think the comments are blowing up now? You just wait.
Just wait. All right, disappointment number 1 for anybody in these top 5 because they all think they're number 1. All right, it's just calling it like
every time, every year,
every time.
everybody
No,
thinks
we're
they're
not number 5. We're
one.
number 1. Like this is gonna be the whole thing throughout there. All right, here we go. Number 5, everybody.
Number 5. Northwest Trojans.
Yeah, Northwest Trojans racking up 33 wins at least and then single-digit losses as a franchise. Talented as always, filled out super early. No surprise that they're in the top 5 again. And they're just a dynamite team. Got it set at the 8U level in the Delta League Super Bowl, but they are a really, really, really tight franchise the whole way through. There are going to be some changes in the following years. I want to see how those changes might affect the franchise. I don't think it's going to affect it all too much, but the recruiting is nonstop for Trojans. Trojans is a storied franchise. This is not a surprise to anybody. In fact, like I said, the disappointment is going to be that they're not number 1, and they really felt like it. Looking back at their season, they are in the toughest part of the Delta, which is the north side of the division. I believe they were the number 1 team coming out of the North. Every team had a winning record. Every team going into the playoffs. They just got upset throughout the playoffs, and then the teams that did make the Super Bowl, they couldn't come away with the trophy. So check this out. All right, this might piss some people off, right? They're number 5 without a Super Bowl trophy.
Yeah, that's going to rub people the wrong way, right? But if you look at every level along the
Consistency.
way, and I was making comments before the season even started, and I was like, they're filled out like cut off registration, like they weren't allowing it, like they cut it off,
We
and
were
it
very
was
surprised how
it
early
was quick. It was quick. And I said, this is going to be a year for them. They are going to be very good at every level. And they were very good at every level. They just didn't finish at every level. And that's one of those things. It's kind of like that Calaveras
target.
Reds, right, syndrome, right? You're the target. People prepare for you. They circle and bold your name on the schedule, right? Because if they can knock your team off, that means they're good, right? But then nobody ever talks about the team who was expected to win and didn't. So I know that's it's hard to swallow, but this is not a unfamiliar territory for Northwest Trojans. We followed them for decades, so they're a very good franchise, and Hey, if you don't think they belong in top five, they're one of
Go
those
play 'em.
franchises. I'm sure we'll have no problem strapping it on. It'll be like mid-February, and they'll be like, "Oh, we're gonna play. Okay, let me grab my helmet." Like they'll come play. They'll come play. So reach out. They're scared of nobody. So they're solid at every level. So anybody who comes to watch them.
It's the staying power too. Like they're always good every year. Like I said, they're not a surprise at top 10. Definitely a disappointment for them because they always feel like they're number one. And in the back of their mind, like, now we're getting it back next year. Yeah, we're disappointed that we couldn't just finish, right? That's tough
Yeah.
to do in the north side of the division too, because that side of the Delta League is always competitive, right? You have the South Stockton Vikings on that side of the division. Lodi Colts kind of upset a few people. There are some good teams in the north side of that division. Arguably
Yes.
one of the most competitive leagues in the 209, and yeah, sometimes you just get sniped coming through the playoffs. That's just what happens. So, but yeah, congratulations, Northwest Trojans, a top 5 spot. That's huge. Shout out. If you're looking to sign up for the Trojans, make sure you do it now because them spots are not going to
Yeah.
last long.
Right, if you gotta grease some palms, do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
You got to get in it. You got to get in it. And don't wait for the summer. I think they filled up before summer, too. I think they maybe reserved a couple, 2-3 spots because they knew coaches in the summertime. They were signing up late. But unless you got the hookup, man, you got to sign up now. You got to get in.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4. Here we go.
Number 4. Oakdale Stampede.
Of course, the gatekeepers are back in the top 5 again. That's Oakdale Stampede at number 4 in the SoCal division. Their 7U was dynamite. It seemed like they returned every single player at the 7U level and whooped up on a very, very, very good Los Banos Wildcats team. And that quarterback and a couple of the running backs had some speed, just some absolute lightning speed at the 7U level. And, of course, like all their other levels, very competitive as well throughout the playoffs. Unfortunately, we did not see them at other levels. We just saw them at the 7U level in the SoCal Super Bowl. SoCal was shaken up quite a bit with not seeing the likes of Turlock Jr Pride and the many representations from Oakdale Stampede. But
Yes.
even saying that, Oakdale Stampede, let's see, they had a Super Bowl win and an ultra competitive SoCal AFC was one of the most, if not arguably the most competitive league in the 209. Let's see, they racked up 35 wins. Every one of their teams a plus 500 record, and that 7U team 13-0, and it wasn't close. They kind of, like if you take the Cesar Chavez Junior Titans of the 12U and then made like a 7U version of it,
Shrink them down to 7U.
that's what you guys
That's
got
Oakdale.
with the Stampede at the 7U level. No doubt in my mind that 7U team beats up on a lot of 8U teams and some 10U teams. They were super good. They were really, really good, and it really wasn't close. So, and then
Bright future.
yeah, for that whole squad, their varsity was really good again, pulling off 9 wins. Their rookies level 7 wins. So just a really strong league to make it that far into the playoffs, to play that many games. SoCal is like, if you're anybody that's worth a damn in SoCal, you're playing a minimum of 11 or 12 games in a season. You don't go 10-0 and win the trophy. You have to go 12-0 usually in order to nab a trophy in the SoCal. And some people got sniped this year out of the AFC, so it's amazing. What do you guys think? Oakdale at number 4, down from the number 1 spot, by the way, too. They were the number 1 team last year. What do you guys think?
It's funny how we kind of give that. We're disappointed. They're number 4.
Yeah.
But, we've always held them to that high standard as they held themselves. I'm sure they were super disappointed. They didn't get more teams in the Super Bowl. But believe you me, they'll be back for sure. That coaching staff at all the levels, all consistent, all very, very good. They all help each other out, even from the other teams. They'll chit chat. They all know each other. So, yeah, kind of disappointed for them, but I know that they'll be back.
For sure.
Yeah. I think if we can just like cut and paste my 2019, 2020, and 2020, I believe it's all the same things that I've said about Oakdale, like year after year after year. One
Homer.
town, one team, right? I've lived there. it was not uncommon to see those shirts, one town, one team, all the time. They love their football, and they should.
Yep.
And they run system top to bottom,
All the
And
way
there-
to
and
the
there's
top.
from 7U up to varsity high school. So if you're 7 and you're like, well, okay, if you're 6, some of them are 5.5. All right, some of them,
If we let
so
them,
you
they'd
start at
3
6
and
years
4.
old, and now you're playing varsity high school, and you're 18. You've 12 years of the same system the whole time.
Refining.
They dream, sleep, eat wing tea. It is what they do. So it is not, I mean, you could take any system really. If you do it that way from bottom to top 5 every time. Every time. If you can get that going and you can get an entire town backing you, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Marcos
gonna be
in the
good.
chat saying,
There will never be a second team.
yeah, Marcos Garcia, Oakdale Stampede is always and consistently on top. Congratulations to the number 4 spot. Yeah, Oakdale, probably one of the first teams to fill up. I think on opening sign-up day is like a holiday for the town of Oakdale, and it literally fills up the franchise. I would say, and that's the reason why they're so good too. Is not only do they have the buy-in from the entire community, but they're held to a higher standard by the community because everybody knows what you're running. They ran it once upon a time. Back in the 90s, they're running the same exact system. They know if the coaches are doing right or wrong, right? They know if the kids are doing right or wrong. So there's this extra level
Right.
of accountability for the entire team. So,
We've sat in the stands and had the 75-year-old guy go, "Oh yeah, I can do that."
Letterman jacket
Yeah,
still.
you just got
old school Letterman jacket.
Yes. So they exist.
That leather.
Yeah, I remember running that Buck suite. That's still the old school 48 Buck suite.
Need to get down there and show them boys how to do it right.
Yeah, yeah. And then, I mean, everyone's kind of chiming in. They know the culture around Oakdale. Them Oakdale kids are big boys.
That ranch work.
That ranch work.
Yeah.
And there's no like, and the thing is that culture is so popular that they're pulling in people from Escalon, from the hills, and even from the Modesto area to Oakdale because
Calaveras
of that.
is coming in. Yeah,
It's good stuff.
that's no
So-
accident.
Yep. So congratulations again, Oakdale Stampede, making it in the top 5 again. I know you're disappointed getting knocking up your number 1 spot. I know you don't think you actually deserve the number 1 spot because you think maybe one more Super Bowl probably would have done it for you. But at the end of the day, you guys are in control of the destiny right there. So congratulations to Oakdale Stampede earning in the top 5 in the Empire Top 25. All right, fireworks time. You thought that was the finale? Nope. Here we go. Number 3, y'all. All right, here we go.
Get ready.
Number 3. Tracy Rampage.
And there goes my comment section, completely blown up. Tracy Rampage taking the number 3 spot, sending all 4 teams to the Delta Super Bowl, and then snagging 3 out of the 4. I think the one hamstring thing there for them is maybe they could have gotten that 4th Super Bowl trophy, and that would have put them over the top. There were some upsets to get them into that playoff spree, but the south side of the Delta League was one of the worst win percentages aggregate as a whole, and that was really kind of them dragging that weight behind them too. So Tracy Rampage,
that was a boat anchor for him,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
definitely.
Yeah.
Tracy Rampage though, I mean, you guys can fight me on this. 14U, best 209 team that they had out there.
I think so. I don't disagree with you. And we watched them multiple occasions, right? And so not only did they win the Super Bowl in their league, okay, but they went outside their league and played the Manteca Cowboys, who were an exceptional 14U team. And if anybody had the privilege of watching that game was amazing. I found myself just kind of like enjoying it as a fan. Just like, just enjoying the ambiance of the crowd and the back and forth. It was great. I loved it. I thought that was everything that youth football should be right there at the highest level. Those 2 teams, just amazing. So, yeah, that hands down the best 14U, and they proved it. So
this is where this
much
top,
respect.
Yeah, this top 3 gets a little bit heated debate. Definitely Tracy Rampage, I know, feels like they deserve that number 1 spot, and we get at the point where, in this point of the rankings, they just want to go play each other and decide for themselves. I 100% encourage you guys doing that. Okay,
Mhm.
Tracy Rampage, especially at the varsity level, actually at all the levels, because they went out to the Turkey Bowl too as well, and put, hurting on the Manteca Cowboys up and down, with the exception for the varsity level. I don't think it was hurting. That was any given Saturday. That's a different winner, I think.
Yes,
But
definitely.
when it counted, Tracy Rampage came out on top. 2 dynamite teams that just clashed. But Tracy Rampage, I mean, big kudos to you guys. Number 3, there's a very good argument for you guys to be number 1. I 100% get that. But you guys are a first-class organization. Last year, Dynamite number 3 spot, returning to the number 3 spot. That's really tough to do. Racking in 3 wins. Or 3 Super Bowl wins. That's a big deal. The road is a little less stressful because you're going through the south side before you guys hit the north side of the division in the Delta, but still able to knock 3 out of the 4 off, the north side. And to me, that was the most top-heavy league that we saw, was the DYFL South. The most top-heavy. You had the Tracy Rampage, and that was it. That was it. Like, no hate to the other teams. I don't think any of the other ones were really ranked on the south side of the division. There's for teams down there. It's really stressful for the south side. But the Tracy Rampage, doing what they're supposed to do, which is clean up the south and then go and get the championships against the north, which is what they did this year. But Tracy Rampage, man, just a killer organization. Shout out to President Guerin over there, Coach Gales and all that. You guys are killing it, absolutely killing it as an organization. So big props to Tracy Rampage. What's that?
Maybe it's a little time for a change.
We hear some rumors.
Yeah.
Well, that's all they are, is rumors.
I would like to see it. To kind of step out of the box, kind of like San Joaquin Junior Rams did.
Yep.
Test the water somewhere else. Get some quality competition.
Yep.
Maybe you're kind of outgrown that league. I mean, I'll say it happens. I think you have. I think
there's a good argument to
make.
That's
nothing bad against you. That's good.
Yeah.
Now it's time to look for bigger and better.
Right. And stability is a great thing in the Delta Youth Football League, right? It's like you're going to find stability in the Delta Youth Football League. Like, they've been around. They're the oldest league. They do things the correct way, the right way. People love to complain, but you notice that they leave and then they come right back, right? So exactly. That's the Delta Youth Football League.
Because there's a bunch of underrated things that they do in that league.
Underappreciated.
It's very underappreciated. And you don't realize how good you have it in certain instances until you go out in the other league. It's like, wait, what do you mean, like, we don't have this, or we have to wait until the week before to figure out what the schedule is or something? Like, there's a lot of aspects that are really underrated that people don't appreciate fully until you get out in the world. You're like, oh, that's bad. And so definitely DYFL is good at that. But I think I think Tracy Rampage definitely should be. And they've already started. They're doing all the right things. They're getting out of their comfort zone after the season's over, and they're playing, Manteca Buffalo or the Manteca Cowboys. They're doing all the right things, and that's the reason why they're number 3. They proved it. They prove it. So So I think if they keep doing that, they're not going to be a stranger to top 5 year in, year out. So
I think they're another
really
gatekeeper.
Top 3.
Yeah.
Top 3 was crazy.
Yeah, top 3 was pretty crazy. The difference between number 2 and number 3 spot, about that thin of a margin. You guys are going to love me for this one, I'm sure. Put it in the chat, put it in the comments, and give me all the hate. All right, here we go. Number 2.
Number 2. Turlock Bulldogs.
The Turlock Bulldogs snake the number 2 spot, getting a couple of SinCal wins. Very tough division here. JV and Varsity getting the wins against a tough Merced Bears team. Another Merced team, by the way, did really well. And against an Atwater team that was looking for that Cinderella finish and just ran into the brick wall that is the Turlock Bulldogs. And the Turlock Bulldogs entered the season with a chip on their shoulder for sure. They had so much struggle getting past Oakdale Stampede and the Turlock Jr Pride. We knew they were good. They were always in the top 10. They just couldn't get past those juggernauts in the SoCal division. And man, I'm just happy for the Turlock Bulldogs. They finally got over the hump, I think, is what happened there. And they put up an 11U team that I know could whoop the heck out of a bunch of 12U teams. They were very big. They were very physical. They were well coached. They had a 14U quarterback that was an athlete like I hadn't seen in a long time. He may not stay at the quarterback position, but he's going to be a stud no matter what position he plays at. He's a very good quarterback. He's got some great fundamentals, very poised for his age, able to get rid of the ball. And then he's just got that swagger like, okay, I'll just run, and then I'm going to score that way too. So, I mean, the 14U and the 11U Turlock Bulldogs, I mean, congratulations to them at the number 2 spot. Those guys were dynamite. I would love to see SoCal play a little bit outside of their division for sure. What do you guys think?
I think so. I think they do. I'm glad the Bulldogs finally stepped out of that damn shadow that is, the Pride and the Stampede. I'm sure it's aggravating because they're like we're just as good as they are. Like it's just you have a little down year, you don't quite get over them. So yeah, and they're again one of those teams. If you haven't heard of them, you should have. Okay, they are not. Their down year is way better than most people's up years. So
their down year is having 2 losses: one in the regular season to Oakdale or Turlock Pride, and then the second one is in the playoffs that just barely misses Super Bowl to, again, the Pride or Stampede, whatever it might be.
Yes, definitely. So I'm glad they finally hey, see, So I'm glad they finally got up there, and it just goes to show the entire strength of that league. I mean, there's 2 teams right there in the top 5 that are in the same side of the bracket. I mean, so it's not uncommon to see these teams in the top 5. It really shouldn't be.
AFC. Yep, they're strong, man. Bulldogs. Great franchise. What do you think, Coach Ralph? You were up there in the booth with me and the SoCal commissioner too as well, watching 11U, 14U, and he was calling out players for us.
Oh yeah, it was great when your president is happy for the other teams making the Super Bowls, getting the playoffs, getting those upsets. It just makes that whole league that much stronger.
That's what he said.
It really shows. And they're like, oh well, it's the same old teams again. Well, not anymore. There's a new kid on the block, and he's not even that new. They just finally got to that plateau for them. Good for them. Very happy to see them up there.
Yeah, they had a ton of different teams at that Super Bowl. Merced Bears, Merced, Atwater, Turlock, Oakdale, Los Banos. It was amazing to see all the different teams at the end. We talk about these teams that are getting 3 or 4 Super Bowls, and it's like the same teams also at the top. But SoCal is still, I think, one of the strongest, if not the strongest leagues in the 209, and they got different teams that are jockeying for position at that number 1 spot every single getting that trophy. So you still have to get through the juggernauts, right? There's respect to the tradition for Oakdale and Turlock Pride and all that, but Turlock Bulldogs have made that statement. I think they're at that point now where no, we're in that conversation. We are one of those teams. You do have to put us on the calendar and circle it and say we have to get past these guys, right? You have to do some extra homework. That's the Turlock Bulldogs.
You can put a ban on vacations that week of practice, right?
Yeah, you don't plan vacations during the Super Bowl or anything like that.
Right. Yes. Coaches, have some faith in your team. Don't schedule nothing before Thanksgiving. You got to believe you're going to the Super Bowl, especially for the Turlock Bulldogs. You're going. You got to go. That's the expectation. So, but
so aloha to you.
Yeah. Inside jabs. All right. Well-deserved inside jabs. But anyway. All right. Now the moment you guys have been waiting for. I really appreciate everyone chiming in and watching our broadcast. I know we're running a little bit long even with the technical difficulties, but we really appreciate you guys watching. Again, these rankings are as a franchise as a whole. I still see some people in the chat saying the JV did this and the novice did that and our 8U did this, and it's like all 4 teams. Put the total wins together and see where you stack up against the other ones. That's kind of how the algorithm works a little bit. This is all algorithm based. This is not subjective, in any large way. The numbers get plugged in. We put in all the wins and losses and extra games and trophies and undefeated seasons, and we see what comes out the other side. It surprises us as much as it surprises you sometimes. So we're interested to see what number 1 is. You guys ready, coaches, for number 1?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, number 1, ladies and gentlemen, on your Empire Top 25.
Number 1. Modesto Rams.
So Modesto Rams had the absolute dream franchise season, racking up a total of 48 total wins and 0 losses. Every single level came home with a trophy. Every single level undefeated, and in most cases was not all that close. Modesto uncontested. I don't think we ever had a number 1 that was this undisputed. I think if you're talking about doing everything you can possibly do to get the number 1 spot, you do it the way the Rams did it here in 2022. Was you win every single game. Absolutely every single game and leave no doubt. Right? And that's exactly what they did. Yep. I don't think there's an argument that Modesto Rams shouldn't be number 1. I mean, go ahead and put it in the chat.
Imagine being uncontested at every level, win a Super Bowl at every level, we'll have 0 losses at franchise and not be ranked number 1. Then there's something wrong with the algorithm, right? There's like a bug, right? There's something wrong here. So, yeah, there's definitely, if you win out at every level, yeah, as a franchise, you're number 1. And it doesn't matter what league you're from, really, right? I mean, if you're in the 209, you win every game with the whole franchise, you're number 1.
And without fail, I'm already seeing in the chat too as well. I get it. He said, wow, that was one of the worst leagues out there, right? And we have a total of 11 leagues, right? And I'll give you a little bit of insight where we ranked that Atlantic division. Let me just put it this way. It wasn't the top 3, right? Even the algorithm, regardless of the league strength, said that's a feat that franchises never get. Like, it's very, very, very rare that a team, regardless of league strength, wins all 4 levels in that fashion. Right? There's not much else you can do besides going to postseason play and testing your might that way. Right? Which obviously, you can. Modesto Rams, I'd love to see some postseason play out of you guys for sure after the Super Bowl. Go play some other teams. Because I'm sure that, we called out, Tracy Rampage 14U. We think that's the best 14U. That's DYFL South. DYFL North, I think, owns the 12U side of it. I think SynCal owns the 7U side of it. At the 10U, I'm not sure. That's going to be ultra competitive all the way through and through. But I think overall, when you put all the numbers together, and then when I saw the points get spit out at the other side, Modesto Rams, this was the largest gap between 1 and the rest of everybody else that we've ever had on this rankings. And it's because there's nothing else you can do, right? You're just undefeated across the board.
Yeah, aware that they played in the Turkey Bowl and that they did go to Vegas. Right. And great for you.
Good.
I'm happy you guys are doing that. Because, in the past, we've seen where other teams just want to talk and say, oh, yeah, we'll play you, and then it falls through or other things. When you go outside your comfort zone and do those things, that's what makes you king of the yard. And I really appreciate when you guys go out and do that. And then Mac Dre, saying, rumor, here's a spoiler alert, they're looking to get the Delta.
No, get back into the Delta.
Yes.
We said this already a couple times, right?
Yes. Yep.
No, for sure.
Yep.
And
so, good.
And another
like
little insight to the league strength, and I'm not going to give everything away, but DYFL North ranked higher than the TBYFL Atlantic in league strength. But like I said, you guys can jockey for league strength and thinking that should be the deciding factor. I don't think league strength will ever be truly a deciding factor. It's just a contributing one, right?
It's
Unless
an
something,
important one, but
yeah,
still,
it is
yeah.
important, but it doesn't ultimately get you the number one spot just because you play in the number one conference or the number one strength league. So, but a big, 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 huge shout out to the Modesto Rams coaching staff all the way up and down. Very competitive. They got a swagger. They know they're good. They don't rub it in. They're not trying to run up scores at the end of games or anything like that.
Very classy.
They did it in the right way in the class act. I think they know they're good. They go in there, it's business. We know we're supposed to beat you, not by a little bit, by a lot. We're going to go in, we're going to do what we're supposed to do. We're going to shake your hand at the end of the day, and we're going to say, thanks for the game. We knew that was going to happen. We prepared. We didn't take you
That
lightly.
varsity coaching staff was very good, very classy, coached up the whole game. Somebody missed an assignment, somebody did something they weren't supposed to, took them off to the side. Hey, this is the way we do it. This is what we expect you to do. Let's perform. And the kids do. And that's respect. Respect for your coaches, respect for your kids, but most of all for me, respect for that franchise.
Yeah. Loaded kids all the way. The numbers are there from top to bottom. Um, again, if you're going to sign up for them, sign up early, but be prepared to work. I mean, those coaches, they have a high bar, and they knew even last year. Let's see, where did they rank last year?
They're two, I
Right?
thought. No, last year there were two,
No,
I
they were
thought.
two. Yeah, they were ranked
Yeah.
two,
Oh,
and
okay.
they felt they were number one, right? And this is
Oh,
the
they
way
sure
you
as hell
respond.
proved it
It's
to
This is
the
the
us.
way you
same
respond.
argument. It's the same argument that all the other top five teams have like every year, right? Like, oh, but this, or but that, or but this, or but that. It's like, yeah, we know. It's funny because we get the we get the results like way beforehand, right? And we're looking at them, and I could hear the arguments way before you guys typed them, like way before. So I'm just like, oh man, we're
We
gonna
have
hear it,
arguments amongst
right?
ourselves.
Right. And we do. We're like, is this like, and yeah, we struggle with it. Like, okay, but and this was obviously the conclusion I came to. Well, if you win every single game in every single Super Bowl and you don't win number one,
Like,
what
I think
what
there's
can
something
you
wrong with the
do, right?
algorithm if that's the case.
Right?
What more could I do?
So, do we really expect the Modesto Rams to travel all the way to North Stockton for every single game or go to Tracy for every single game? I was like, really, the reality is you play the people around you to the best of your ability, and they did it with perfection. So, if you're
Literally.
perfect, then you probably deserve the number one spot. And we're not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I remember when St. Mary's 14U was playing Manteca Cowboys 14U, and we were having our discussions, and I remember saying, you know what, this is going to be interesting because we got two very different teams, two very different styles. I think it'll probably be pretty darn close. And I
We
was
all thought it was
super
going to be
wrong.
close.
I was super wrong. That was not close at all. And so really, then it got me thinking, maybe Manteca's league is a lot stronger than I thought, or maybe and then it's like, well, is it just the varsity level, or where is it at? So it did, we're not perfect, but there's definitely like if you think that you're right, but you don't go out and actually watch or push for it, then it's like, well, you can never know, right? We're all human, we make mistakes. So, but I think this is the best of what we got, and I think the rankings fell where they should have.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of teams in this top 25, and I think they all belong there, all of them.
Yeah, and
So,
there's a ton of work that goes into it. And we had a big debate over the number two and the number three spot, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I was
Coach
like,
Rob was in
are you
my ear
kidding me?
about that one. Like, are you serious, Tracy
Right,
yeah,
Rampage?
right.
Like, we
yeah,
understand maybe not number one, but number two, like, what more are they gonna do? I was like, well, maybe not be in the
Yeah,
BYFL
and
South. That's not the
you
argument I'm
just
making,
have to
but
absorb it all and like, okay.
yeah, and it's happened to me too, where I'll get teams in the top five or top 10. I'll be like, God, I never thought for a chance that they would be in the top 10. Like I didn't think that was going to happen. I disagree with it, but I still let it roll because the algorithm that's the check on me. That's the check on all of us that says, look, the numbers are what the numbers are. And all right, let's go back to the chat. Let's see what you guys all think.
Oh,
There's
somebody wants
Joe
you to.
wants a list.
You want the list?
Everybody
Dennis?
wants the
He
list to
wants the
post
list.
out.
Yeah,
Hey, do me a
Jesus.
favor. I will get a list out. There's a reason why I delayed the list this year because I am view hungry on my YouTube channel. Shamelessly, come get the views. Send them the link to it first. I mean, you guys can scroll forward and then argue with me later about how you missed the beginning and don't even know how the algorithm works and why the Chavez Junior Titans 12U isn't the reason why the Chavez Titans franchise is number one. Right? You got to go back to the beginning and realize that this is all ranked together, right? It's the entire team. You guys will get a list, though. You guys will get a list. I'm going to sleep first because for like the past week, I've been working till like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, waking up and getting right back into the editing and doing all this stuff over again. And it still went with a hitch here and there. So, but yeah, I will get you a list, Joe. I appreciate you and all the work that you put in over the Tracy Bucks too. You got me some numbers that I was needing from the Central Valley Youth Football and Cheer. By the way, whoever runs Central Valley Youth Football and Cheer, get a website or at least don't treat I mean, it's youth football. It's not confidential information, okay? The end of the year standings are not confidential information. I shouldn't have to be bugging all these presidents and stuff to see where you get. Just post it, man.
Right?
Same thing with you,
Jeez.
Sacramento youth football. Jeez, man. Like, I got to sign up and I get approved just to see your guys' standings. Like it's youth football. We like to have fun with it with the rankings and stuff, and we enjoy the hell out of it. But we don't take ourselves that seriously, okay? It is just a rankings after all. Right? This is not saying, this is the best franchise, sign up for them and leave the other. No, it's nothing like that. We're trying to raise the level of competition in the area. And we're trying to get the competition recognized that is the 209. And we get talked about a lot. So don't let these other people get under your skin saying you guys are trash, you guys are trash. They're talking about you. Right? Winners focus on them. Losers focus on everybody else. So,
they're in our chat.
Yep, they're in our chat. Okay, we're not in their chat. Why? Well, they don't have a chat. They don't have people that put in the work. They don't have people put in the work like the Modesto Rams, right? Putting up 48 wins this season, going undefeated. They don't have the Tracy Rampage going to get that extra work against the Manteca Cowboys, who's not shying away from nobody and taking on 2 season games after Super Bowl, right? We're doing that here. And I get it. There's postseason tournaments and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of them because they start stacking rosters, right? They start pulling in kids from. That's not their actual teams that they're going to play in those league tournaments. I don't care about those league tournaments, all right? I know some people at the Turkey Bowl are mad at my commentary. I didn't really take it that seriously until we got to Tracy Rampage and Manteca Cowboys because I knew they didn't stack a bunch of players I didn't know about because I saw everybody and I recognized everybody. So it was good stuff all the way up and down. Yeah, we appreciate the heck out of that. I think you take the team that won you all the way through Super Bowl and then go fight some extra battles afterwards. That's the way it's done. Don't stack a bunch of teams and play ugly ball in a Turkey Bowl. Come on now. All right. Anyway.
I like Marcos's comment there. You guys are the sports center for youth football in the Valley. Thanks.
I appreciate that.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
Not that bad, right? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, a dig at Sports Center. It's like little old me, not even couple thousand subscribers taking a dig at Sports Center.
Think big,
yeah.
big, coach.
Yeah. No, we got big things in the work next year. I'm telling you guys, there's some big things coming next year. Let's just put it this way: you're not going to want to go to the Turkey Bowl. All right, that's number one. All right, and number two, if we can get it done, and if somebody's as crazy as the rest of us and wants to come in and work a camera for us, maybe a second camera gets introduced live too as well. Right, so there's a lot of upgrades that we're looking to do this year as well. So we're really excited about 2023. I know we had a great 2022 for the rest of you guys. Congratulations. Ours was a little rough, but we made it throughout the other side. The one thing I tried to keep telling myself in 2022, if you were on a bad football team and you had a rough year, right, you don't just quit on it, right? You just fight to get back into it, whatever it is that you got. And I think that's what we did, me and Coach Ralph, Coach Mike, you just fight to get back into it. However, you got to get that done. And with the help of everybody, everybody in the 209 chipped in to help us get back into it. So we appreciate the hell out of you guys sharing the GoFundMes, just getting our name out there, letting everyone know what's going on, and you got us back into it. And we're glad to be back. Man, we appreciate the hell out of everybody in the 209. All right. last call for chats here before we close it up.
Permitted unlimited weight. Ooh.
Good.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, bringing back
Please.
special teams into the 10U as well. I mean, you could do it Central Valley Youth Football and
Please.
cheer. I mean, they don't have problem with injuries, and they kick and do special teams at every single level. Right? It's
Just saying.
you know. I know there are some obstacles to overcome, and I know it scares the heck out of parents. They're like, "Oh my God, this 10U kid, he's 200 pounds. How is my 60-year-old or 60-pound kid gonna go up against that?" Very easy. You don't have to go through everybody. You can go around people. So it's like he's still 10 years old at the end of it. So,
Thanks, Impact.
oh, Impact Films, what's going on, man? Thank you so much. I appreciate that shout out. Shout out to Raleigh Brown, South Stockton Vikings alum playing in the Cotton Bowl tomorrow for USC. If you want to go see, if you become a member, you could get to see Raleigh Brown youth football just spanking Bay Area teams and also some of the Valley teams too as well.
Morgan Hill.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
spanked everybody.
Yeah, he did to everybody.
There's a reason why he's playing in the Cotton Bowl at USC. So.
And then shout
he
out-
put in the work.
Yeah. Shout out to Elevate. I have another Elevate YouTube channel. If you guys are looking for 7-on-7 stuff in the spring, I got that. Shameless hook. But Jonah Coleman, right? We caught
Yes.
him at the youth football stuff too as well. Guys, the future that you guys are seeing into this D1 that's possibly going to the NFL, it's here in the 209. That's why we're so stoked to actually get video of all these people, because we know the talent's here. It's just about getting them the exposure and getting them out and getting them out into these big D1 schools, because there's a ton of talent here and we know it. Thanks,
Yep.
Coach Hernandez. Appreciate it. I'm really trying to level up my live game. I appreciate all the nice thing you guys say about our live. I really have a tough time listening to myself rewatching these things. It's hard to do. It's just terrible. I think, what are you talking about half the time?
And you have like 1,000 like of ideas that you want to do.
Yeah.
And then you think and then you think back on them. You're like, God, like 800 of those were really, really dumb.
Yeah.
But then you try out one anyway. Like, sound pretty good.
It worked. But that Elevate channel we have, we're kind of using it as a little bit of experimental stuff and getting into the 7-on-7. If you look up Elevate or some of the links off of our North Valley Empire in the Instagram, go watch that stuff. You're going to start seeing some on the field camera work and stuff like that we started to invest in a little bit. So hopefully we can get a lot of wrinkles ironed out in the spring. That way we can bring you a very clean package in the fall. And I think that's how we're going to
Get some knee
start.
braces for Coach Matt.
I got to get back in shape. I'm so out of shape.
You
That
had
was
to
so
run.
hard to do. I was like, I can keep up with these kids. And then all of a sudden, like, these high schoolers come out and they start running around. I was like, what are you doing, Coach Matt? What are you doing? This is stupid. This hurts a lot.
Talk about bad ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, again, Dre shouting out that North Valley Empire Bowl game. I think that's the right thing to do. I think so. If I can get all the pieces fit in the best way to get that done, because there's a lot of pushback. I get it. Rules is rules, but I think if we do it right and we put on a true tournament at the end of the year, FCS style, I think we could do it. And Berg Bird, if that's Alberti
will need
over
your
there
help.
making fun of me, he knows me when blowing out my knee and coaching and practice getting tackled by kids.
I think he's well aware of
Well,
what.
these guys only come out to talk to Matt. Birdie
yeah.
and Seth.
And then Joe says, come on down to the sideline and don't kick off. I will try my best. I get it. I get why you got kicked off. Because when you're in on that lens and you're looking down, it's like you get tunnel vision sometimes. You don't see people coming in. You kind of expect people, but not that close. And then all of a sudden, wham! Like I almost got bulldozed at one of the Elevate tryouts, bro. I had the camera. I was like, oh God! And it come right over the top of me. I was like, I'm in the wrong spot. Yeah.
Take my knee, but not the camera.
But yeah, end of the year tournament is definitely number one on the list to get done next year.
What do you call it?
That's one of the questions we got to answer, right? If you guys want to
There's
know
a
what to
poll
call,
question.
I don't know. If you got, there's a poll question.
Oh.
What do you guys think?
Let's
What
go
do we
ahead.
call it?
Let's go ahead.
What is
and-
it? What does a 209 tournament of champions look like?
right?
What does that sound like? What do you think?
All right.
38% TYFL.
See, they're in the chat. They know.
All right. What was the outcome? I can't see it on my end. I'm not seeing it.
So we got
38% TYFL. Delta got 31%.
North.
SenCal was 19%. And Sax Sierra 10%.
Gotcha. Interesting
86
result.
votes. Not bad.
Not
Yeah.
bad. Thank you guys all for voting. I appreciate that. That's pretty cool.
Right there in the top 5, we had just about 100 people online right there.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
There are 3 silly guys talking about youth
To
football.
youth football, right? But obviously, there's enough of us crazy people out there that really dig what we're doing here in the 209, and it's envious from other people from what we're doing, and that's
Right.
I mean, that's a little bit why I like doing it too as well, because we get dogged quite a bit, right? These small town people and uh, you know, teams from nowhere and all that other stuff, but we're good. We're really, really good. And we're putting in D1 people, you know, just like everybody else. We're putting in some NFL people just like everybody else. This North Valley that we got, this northern side of the Central Valley, it's a big deal, right? What we're doing out here. And there's a lot of hard work that goes in from people who've been doing it for many years, the people that don't have any stake in the game, right? They don't have no kids in the program or anything like that. So, yeah, all right, everybody. We really appreciate you walking. Coach Mike, you got anything for us?
It's just, man, I just love watching some of these kids have as much fun as they do out there. I mean, and I'm so happy they got something to look back on to watch. I know when we were playing as, little 12 and 13-year-olds or whatever, uh, uh, it was on VHS and DVDs and things like that, and they were literally like we would literally wear out the VHS tapes. And they would work it. They would get scraggled and stuff like that. It was bad, right? And then we made it. In 2005, we put everything on DVDs, and then we literally had parents like hiding the DVDs because the kids would not stop watching them. So, like, go outside. So I just hope the kids are just having that much fun. It doesn't matter where you really rank. If you had a great big run, play, whatever it was, you will remember it the whole time. I remember 7-on-7 passing tournament. Coach Tracy told our team after the game, oh, it's just one of those teams that you beat up on. Nobody's going to remember this game. I remember the game because that was my first pick six. Okay? I remember it like it was yesterday, okay? And when I made it in front of Grandpa, I heard him cheering me as I ran down the sideline. I was slow. So for me to get a pick six, that was amazing, okay? So I remember it. So look back on those plays and you'll remember forever. I'm glad if it was caught on film, back it up in the cloud, do whatever you can, okay? Because you will wear it out.
Also, if you think, hey, I know he caught me on film, but I don't see it in the highlights, you become a member, go to the YouTube channel, shamelessly screen grab and throw it online. I really don't care. Tag me in it, though. That's nice. That's always good etiquette. Just tag me in it if you guys could. But I don't mind you guys clipping stuff out or anything like that. And then, Coach Ralph, you got anything for us to close out the night?
I just enjoy doing this, watching the kids, like Coach Mike said, out there have fun, spending time with you guys. It's certainly not the pay that keeps me around. So, yeah, but it's for the kids. I mean, we don't get paid. We don't get paid for coming out and doing these things. It's the fun of the kids seeing us show up, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna be live," or "I can't wait for the highlights so I can watch it," or having the groupie kids come and say, "I'm cool with it that you guys are here." Other kids, they're going nuts out there, but I'm chill. I'm glad you're here. That was great seeing that kid do that. And then the kids outside going, "They're here, they're here." Yeah, that's them, but that's not me.
Yeah, that is the best part of us showing up to the games and stuff like that. One thing that it still stuns me we'll walk in, and before we can even like pay to get in and be like, hey,
We
by
came
the way,
back.
do you guys have any room upstairs or anything? They're just like, they stop us before we can even get that conversation started now, which is pretty cool. I didn't think that many people really watched what we do, but apparently that's the case, and you guys appreciate that, and we appreciate you guys for accommodating us over there. We're not trying to get in anybody's way. We're used to doing this out of the stands even, and there have been
3 years ago.
yeah, there were
Right in
years
the thick
ago.
of it.
Yeah, we're right there getting all the parents on audio, which you can still see if
A lot
you're a
of people
member.
were
By the
YouTube
way,
famous.
you can still see games where there's a live stream that we had where we got kicked out live.
Oh,
It's a thing. It happens. So
God.
yeah, it happens.
Or getting questions about the bylaws.
Oh yeah, the bylaws. That's another one. We always get questioned about the bylaws. It's the bylaw.
Are you sure it's in our bylaws?
Yeah. But yeah, yeah, we definitely got to get a tournament together and get this done. That's number one on my list. With a little bit of help from the 209, which you guys have showed me, we can organize it and pull enough volunteers together to really get it done the right way, and with the right rules in place to make sure everyone is safe, and that everyone's accommodated to a degree, right? You can't roll out the red carpet for anybody for this bowl. It's going to have to be fair across the board, because I think that's where it'll gain its credibility if everyone knows there's a spot we all go to after our Super Bowls where there's a bigger trophy at the end of the road. So hopefully we can get that done for you guys. But
Miss you,
appreciate
Seth.
yeah, appreciate everybody watching. We're going to go ahead and close out. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas, a safe New Year's out there. Be safe with all the crazy weather and whatnot that we're getting right now. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, notification icon, visit our Elevate channel if you want to see what we're doing in the springtime. Well, like always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.